Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mainstream Mondays, last episode of A the Year and B of the season. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with
Very excited. We made it. We made it all the way through. We made
yes,
it. Movies, TV shows, documentaries. This is a
the
first.
the
We made
works.
man,
Oh,
man.
it won't be the last because we'll be telling you guys what we're up to after this. But what's your name, sir?
Oh, John Ward.
Yes, yep. John Ward's been the co-host for since the beginning. I haven't
Yeah.
done this show without him. So we came up
Yay.
with this together and we're gonna keep going for as long as YouTube allows us.
That's right.
So we are gonna be talking about life, oh my God, Doc of Chucky. Not Living with Chucky, which is the other documentary.
Or Life with Chucky, which doesn't exist.
Life with Chucky. Well, yeah. I would like to have a life with Chucky. That would be cool. Um he's my little homeboy, I'd hang out with him.
Do you think
Um
you could just hang out with Chucky, or would eventually he kill you?
I don't know. I think he'd want me to kill people, and then if I don't, he would kill me. That's what he did with the show, right? Like he turned everybody to try to get them to kill people, and then when they wouldn't, he was like, "All right, fine, I'm gonna kill you instead."
Well, I guess I mean you're not a cute little girl, so I don't know if he could really use you to, like he couldn't really kind of
Well, that's what he tried to do with Jake, though. He tried to use Jake, and Jake's not a cute little girl, you know?
no, but he's like a young gay guy,
Yeah.
so he might be able to hit the bars and the dance places and stuff. If he kind of possessed, that's the word I was looking for, possessed. If he possessed you, where would you go? Movie conventions, maybe?
Which he would love. He would, especially Chucky fans. You know, um, they should do that. Like one of the next ones should be a horror convention where they're celebrating Chucky. Because they did have those movies, and stuff, and they could, have that. But I don't know. It's always the thing when it gets to be too meta, I guess. All right. So we're going to be talking about that. But before, you had some stuff to show. I have one thing I want to show. You have two things, but I have one thing.
Well, I'm curious of what you have, so why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I don't think I've shown this off yet. Because I don't think I brought it upstairs. It's in my living room. And it's been in my living room since last Halloween, not this past Halloween, but the one before then when I bought it, which is
Oh,
so
damn.
yeah. And he
He
even
is
says
huge.
and he even says good guys on it.
Nice.
Good guys on it. Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
Pretty huge. I think Five Below. Yeah, it was crazy. It was weird to have them
Actually, at the
at the
store or
store.
the
Yeah,
website?
at the store.
How
But this was a
much?
couple years ago. $5.
Shit, I want one.
I got him, and I also got
That is cool.
the cat from Hocus Pocus, and it's got the little Hocus Pocus like I don't know witch's brew thing, and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
I
But
think I have the small version, which I showed in one of the earlier videos. He's like a little like a plush toy
yeah,
type of thing, but he
but
looks like
this
the
guy,
tiny version of that guy.
yeah, this
That
guy's pretty huge and he's got like little feet and uh,
yeah,
he
I
stands
want
up. He
that.
stands up like he could be right here the whole time,
Oh man.
But he's I don't know, look from the back. I mean, it looks like a really good version of him. I don't know.
Oh, I absolutely well, and I
I don't
so
like
every
his
once
ears. Oh, we need to get rid of this. I realized he had a little tag on him on his ear. It's
oh, it's
tagged.
like an earring.
Yeah, but it looks bad. I need
It's
to
on
get
the
that.
wrong ear though.
Mm.
Um, the I looked on the Five Below website and I did type in Chucky and that did not come up. Otherwise, I would have purchased it. So, and I
I
haven't
don't
seen it in the
know.
stores.
I'm
So
just pretty
I
sure I got it from there. If I didn't get it from there, I got it from Big Lots. Big Lots might have been, but I'm pretty sure I got it from there because I don't really go to many places during Halloween. So a lot of places are just too expensive during Halloween, for things.
Could it
So
be Spirit, maybe?
no, it was definitely I haven't gone to Spirit in like 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Ridiculous amount of years, but it's been a while. But yeah, no, it wasn't that, but it was definitely I think it was Five Below or whatever, but it's weird. Now that I'm looking at him closer, he's got like this little face thing, like if you look at his neck, if you can see his neck.
Yeah, you gotta move him like in front of
Um,
you.
I might have to get rid of this thing real quick because there, okay. Look at his neck. See how that like this is one color and then down here, different color. It looks like he's wearing a mask.
I could slightly.
See, it's
No, see, now it looks like the same color.
yeah, it does, but it's not. If you look, I mean, if you're here in person, you'll notice it. Look. It doesn't look like two different colors. Like there's this little spot right here that goes all the way around.
Maybe because it's in a shadow?
No, no, he looks like he has a mask on, which is weird. Why would Chucky need a mask of that? I don't know.
That's
And
just how it was made.
yeah, I mean, it's not like I don't think this is official. This is not official. There's no like thing on here saying official Chucky. So it's weird. Maybe it is official. I don't know. Maybe I got rid of the tag. Let me put
Oh,
my thing back on.
I would definitely leave that tag on.
Oh yeah, well I wanted to show him off. He's got to be outside in the thing. He can't be outside in the thing if
Outside the thing.
yeah, he can't be outside. Um, here is the here.
The top
Yeah,
of your head looks great.
yeah, thank you. All right, we're back. So, your
Well,
turn.
both of these are five. No, I think both of these are Five Below. Yeah. So last week I showed a Chucky from this company, this culture fly,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the Tiffany that I was mentioning. So they
Yeah, you
they
said you're
have
getting that.
yeah. So it's her, but the one that I usually see is just her plain. And I went, well, that's boring. She's not carrying a weapon or anything. But this is her with blood. She has like blood splattered on her.
Okay.
So it's a little better. Once again, not mentioning Child's Play 1, just Child's Play 2 up through Bride. So which I think is
I don't
always
know.
weird.
That's because those are all Universal.
Oh, that's true, because yeah, the first one was MGM. Yeah,
Yeah, they talked about that in the
that's right.
documentary.
And so I'm happy that I got this because it's just not boring Tiffany. It's like it's got blood on it. There is so every once in a while I do check the Five Below like website. I'll go through the app and they do have it looks like this with Chucky inside, and I think he's holding a hammer, might be a hammer or a knife, and he's like coming at you with it. But the box is like what your picture is there.
Hmm.
It's the good guy's box, but it's
Nice.
tiny. It's like this and it's sideways. And I'm like, oh fuck, I want that. So I found two things on the website that I ordered, but they said they were only in store only. So I bought them, and the real thing I wanted was this Chucky thing. And of course, I get there. Oh, we can't find it. Well, of course you can't. The store's a friggin' disaster. It's like how I'm surprised that you found the one thing. So I ordered this along with it, and I'm like, okay, it's a Good Luck Trolls Chucky.
Nice. So you're not taking that out of the box.
No, but it's so they got the picture with the right shirt, like the rainbow shirt. But look
Hmm.
at what he's barely got the shirt. Like they put the most minimal effort into doing this. But I mean, it's such a weird thing. It's for ages 5 and up. So like if you were a parent, would you be going, "Oh, my kid would love this." Like and then the kid's like, "Well, who's Chucky?" And then you have to explain who Chucky is. And this is official. So it's Universal, and then there's all the movies again, and it says Chucky above. Does this say Chucky above? Yeah, it does. So it is official. But yeah, it will just sit there on my shelf. So,
Nice.
but I found on eBay that one Chucky thing that they didn't have. Unfortunately, I would have paid $5. Now I have to pay like $10, for it. So it's like, damn you guys. And I told the woman when I went there, I'm like, oh great, you guys have the one thing that I wanted, which was really that one. And she just ignored me. So it's what I'm guessing they're probably told to do. It's Christmas. People aren't going to get what they ordered because this one woman, she goes, "Well, I found my order on your shelf. You guys said you couldn't find it." And once again, that woman was just ignored. Like there was no comment. So probably corporate said, "Look, you're going to get a lot of complaints from people because you can't find stuff. Just ignore it. Don't even say sorry. Just ignore it."
It's fucked
So,
up.
yeah.
Isn't that right, Chucky?
Yes, it is.
He's
It
nodding.
is.
I'm gonna keep him with me. You gonna stay with us while we talk about you?
Yes, I am.
No. Oh Lord.
Yes, I am. Fuck you.
I would love it if you could talk like Brad Dourif and do that voice. They talked about it in the documentary, but Fiona Dorff does a really good, she does really do a good, really good version of her dad. I mean, I know she has to hear her dad all the time, but like, you know, she does a good impression of him.
Oh yeah.
Um, all right, and it's funny because this is close to Christmas. This will be out after Christmas, but hey, this was definitely at Five Below. I know that
Oh, that
for a
was I've
fact.
seen that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gizmo.
yeah, he's my buddy. I'm gonna keep him forever. I wish we could have a real Gizmo. I just couldn't feed him after midnight or no.
But who knows? You might know. You might forget about daylight savings or something and feed him, and then
You-
it just starts all
I'll
over.
just tell him don't eat that late. Come on now. This is not just for your safety, but for all of ours.
I don't
Uh,
think he would listen.
mm,
He's
no.
hungry. So did I started to listen to your message when you got done watching the doc. You sent me a message. I started to listen to it and then I turned it off because I'm like,
Okay.
I don't want to know his opinion. So do you want to start with Shudder?
Oh God, yeah. So this was a Shutter exclusive, I guess, like a
Yeah.
Shutter original, as it's called on the thing. And almost 5 hours long. Well, pretty long movie. They um So I start watching it last night, and as I'm watching it last night, I watched about almost 3 hours of it. It's getting close to 3 hours. I think I did 2 hours and 55 minutes, which meant that I had 2 hours left of it. So I was like, all right, because I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and watch the rest. I was like, 2 hours seems pretty easy to do, you know, in the time frame and stuff. I don't have that way I don't have to watch it all in one going like you did, unfortunately. Um,
That
but
was long.
yeah, it was long. It was a long movie, and when I started watching on my Roku, so I had Shutter for a while, but I got rid of it because they kept charging. Wait, I mean, like now they're up to $9. They were up to seven before, so they've now gone up $2. Since the last time I had it, and it's ridiculous. So it's like $9, 8.99 for you to do it, and so I ended up what is it I ended up deciding to watch it last night, and everything worked fine. Got up to two and a half or 2 hours and 55 minutes. Everything was good, no glitching, no issues, whatever. This morning, did whatever I had to do. Afternoon, I was like, I'm gonna watch it. So I start watching it on my Roku, and this is right before you messaged me, and it was working. Right? Things were going good, and then out of nowhere, it turned off on me. You know, like it just said it wasn't working or whatever. And then I tried to play it again, and then it would say too many people are watching it on your thing or something. I was like, I don't have nobody knows my password. I literally just got it for the um for the free for the free 1 week trial. So using a different phone number and stuff, you know? So anyway, they said, okay, or whatever. I was like, okay, let me try it again later. Tried again later, still giving me problems. Then you messaged me and said yours was glitchy too. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so I'll kind of start from so I guess I subscribed to Shutter at some point, and so I tried my first one, and it's like, continue with the 9.99 monthly, and I'm like, got out of it. Tried my second email. Hey, continue with the 9.99. I'm like, fuck, okay, I guess I've used both of these. I don't know what I watched, but I must have watched something. And then I do have a third email, and I use that as, and that let me use it as the trial.
That's what happened with me, sort of, yeah.
And so I got on there and I'm watching it, and then all of a sudden they're talking about a scene in the first Child's Play that takes place down an alleyway at the beginning of the movie.
Hmm.
And then one of the actors goes, and it was actually a few of them are like, I don't remember that happening. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, I can't believe they cut that scene. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Like it literally just said there was a scene, but they didn't describe the scene. So I went
That
back
long.
and then I noticed it went, I'm like, it's skipping. And so I watched it again, and I'm like, I'm losing out on this. Luckily, further in the documentary, they do talk about the drag scene.
Yeah,
And then you told me
that's
about
it.
it too.
Because you missed that. You didn't hear that, right? So
No,
that was it.
yeah, and I thought it was weird because they show a picture of like Brad Dourif and Chris Sarandon in the alleyway. And I thought it was weird that they wrote drag club with an arrow pointing at the club. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Why do we care about that? Like, that's a weird thing to point out. Why don't you point out the bar that says not drag bar or something? It's like, why are we pointing this out? Well, I guess it's because I missed a section. And
Yeah.
they explained why Chris Sarandon was dressed in drag by this bar. And then, of course, Charles Lee Ray would comes by. So that really bummed me out that I kind of missed that because it was something that was never shown, but they shot it. And then I'm watching, and then you and I are communicating back and forth. And then later on, once again, and I'm like, and I went back all over again. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just missing that scene, or whatever it was, and it didn't do anything after that. It was fine. So,
Okay, good. Well, then I couldn't figure it out, so I decided I would go watch it on my computer. And I turned on, I logged in and went right back to where I was at, so I was at Seed of Chucky at the time. And I was like, okay. And it was at the John Waters first talking about stuff and everything. So I went right into it and everything was fine. And then I watched the rest of the documentary on my computer. So screw you, Shutter. I don't know what happened today or what is going on with you, but this is my least favorite app. I'm sorry. Like everybody always goes, "Oh, Shutter is so great because it has so many great, movies and everything." I'm like, the app is terrible. Like I think a lot of it also, like if I weren't paying for it, I would, and I'm not right now, but I could be because they've also effed up my getting rid of it. Whenever I tried to get rid of it the last time, I had to actually literally message the people and say, please get rid of me off of this thing.
oh
And they had to
wow.
do that. So I'm hoping that this doesn't happen again, but we'll
I
see.
have on my calendar, cancel, like one day before. So it's like, okay, if I want to watch something, I'll do it, but I don't think that there's really
There's
anything
a lot
other
of
than
stuff on there. There is a lot of stuff on there. And I'm really happy about it because that means I can watch it before, like, and do like a horror film lovers reviews or something, or first time watch Fridays, and I can watch it on Shutter. I may keep it. If I start seeing a lot of things that I'm interested in watching, I may keep it. I may pay the 8.99 for at least a month, and just give it a go because
Why
I haven't
not?
done it in a while. I mean, we'll see if I have the money right now to do it because, I will. I'll have the money to do it. But it's just, a matter of like, will I want to about that time? That's like right, like this should be like the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve, that I would get charged for it.
Yeah, I think mine is the day before would be Wednesday, something like that. So I just wrote cancel.
Yeah,
There's always stuff to watch. I mean, no matter what, but it has to be a like I don't know, a channel or whatever you want to call it, a platform or whatever that really appeals to me. So the only two that I'm paying for, well, which is funny, Netflix and HBO Max,
right.
which are now pretty much,
Maybe coming together. They might be,
yeah.
might not be. We're still, I
But
mean, we're on pins and needles on that one.
yeah, but still voting, still hoping for the Saudis. But
I am too.
it,
I want Paramount because I think Netflix will really push for just streaming and less theatrical. And even though and I know this is a whole nother story and a whole nother thing, but like, it's one of those things. So I'm just hoping it's um you know um you know I'm just hoping it's it works with Paramount.
I'm hoping, I wish that it would never happen, but
Well, I
it's
mean,
because
you can't get that. That's just that
I mean,
once.
Paramount is just as bad as Netflix,
But
and it's I can't. It's the wokeness. I can't take it. It's Paramount has destroyed Star Trek, and and now this whole new Star Trek Fleet Academy looks god frigging awful. Like they really have just sunk it. They sunk it worse than Davy Jones' locker, and it's just no. So I can't. And Netflix with all their woke garbage too. But Netflix for me has Arrowverse, and so I'm going through all those. But then once they end on Netflix, because they're all Warner Brothers, they go to HBO Max. So like right now, Arrow, I think should be on HBO. Yesterday it was on Netflix. So that's why I keep both, because I could go back and forth between the shows.
have, have I showed
But
you this mug yet?
I'm not crazy. My mother had me to. Don't you have a shirt that says that too?
No, just the
Oh
just
no,
this
that's
mug.
Sheldon. Oh no, Sheldon says that.
Sheldon says it.
Yeah,
It's in a Big Bang Theory, but no, I don't
it's
have
a good mug.
you know, yeah, I bought that from. I think this is a Timu mug, so I'm surprised it's still around.
Maybe you got the Chucky doll from Temu.
No, because I got both this and the other one. I wouldn't have done that for. I wouldn't have gotten both of them at Timu. I would have just gotten one.
I'll have to
But that's
Google it
good.
because I do want that. So,
Yeah, well,
but
Google Chucky doll. Like I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know how to describe them. Chucky doll with a fat ass. He's got a fat ass.
it's got some junk in that trunk.
I know. Sorry, buddy. What have you been eating? Jeez. All right.
Um, so what are we thinking? You may keep Shutter. I'm probably just gonna get rid of it because I don't need it because I only needed to see
I
Doc of
don't know. We'll
Chucky.
see. I don't even know if I'm gonna
So
keep it. I might try to get rid of it, but we'll see. I'm
so
not worried about it yet.
well, I think the trial was worth watching this even with the glitches. So just comparing the two, what did you like better, Living with Chucky or Doc of Chucky?
I mean, they're different, like if I wanted more personal story about Chucky, and sort of what it meant to like fans and to the people who made it, kind of thing, more like that. I would lean more toward Living with Chucky, but as far as like a documentary about the Chucky series and about actually going through all of them, this was a pretty good one. I mean, it's not as good as like Crystal Lake Memories or the Nightmare on Elm Street
Which are done by the
documentary.
same guy.
Is it? Yeah. I
Yeah,
like I like those two better,
um Yeah, it's a Tommy Hudson. Because I was curious, like, oh, has this guy done anything else? Directing wise, well, so writer, he did not. But producer, he did do. I'm just scanning down just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So, Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. He also did the More Brains, a Return of the Living Dead. I think it's supposed to say documentary, but it just
Yeah, it's
says
the
a returning to a, which is weird, just adding an A in there.
I think it's supposed to
Um,
be a
I think it's supposed to be a Night of the Living Dead documentary, maybe.
yeah, maybe.
And then he also did Scream the Inside Story and Never Sleep Again,
Yep.
the Elm
I
Street
love
radio
Never
series.
Sleep Again. That one's about like 5 hours long or something, and it's
It's
really
really long.
good. But it's really good. They really go into some deep stuff with that one. So, but
It's a
it's
weird one.
structured the same way,
Well,
you
they're
know?
all the same way, yeah, because before that, he did the short version of Crystal Lake Memories,
Yeah, that
which
was
is his
on
name
the
is
DVD.
Jason.
Yeah, his name was
Yeah.
Jason. I love that one too. Um, I had that on DVD. I still do. I think it's in my studio. I
Um,
like it.
oh, I have them both too. Yeah, I don't see him. He's just producer on those. He seems to be more of like a production guy, not really a director guy. Um, so yeah, Daniel Ferens he's worked with a few times, who's the guy that I interviewed. Um, who did. He does a lot of these. But my issue with the Nightmare on Elm Street one is why are people so fucking weird? It's like I remember on some of these, I don't know if it maybe was Friday and this with it, but I know in Nightmare, in Final Nightmare, the girl who's like the abused girl who's like, you
mhm.
ain't gonna get none, you ain't gonna get none, and she's like the tough girl. She's in that with her geisha.
Yeah, you
So
told
she's
me about this.
up on like a platform where she's got the huge thing that that a geisha would have, and then like her servant is below her, and it's like, really? You couldn't just come and sit in a chair. And there's guys with like weird hats and
As
weird
Leslie
shirts.
Deanne, right? Because she's like in a
I
band or something too.
I don't know her
Um,
name. I just thought that that was really weird, and it kind of reminds me of American Movie with Mark's brother, who's being interviewed in the Hooters shirt. And he's like, well, if I knew I was being interviewed, I wouldn't have worn the Hooters shirt, which was in like the documentary or whatever, or audio commentary, wherever he says that. And it's like, how about just not wearing a Hooters shirt? I mean,
right.
if you're going to a film set, maybe just wear a plain shirt or AC/DC or something. But instead, you got these guys, and like I'm watching this one, I was surprised because nobody looked weird or acted weird. And
No,
I'm like,
everything was normal.
okay, that's nice. Because I still remember even with like the Friday one and stuff, people's hair was like all messed up. And it's like, why would you film them with their hair that way? It looks like they just woke up. And there was this stuff that just like why? Why are you? They're probably doing, the actors are probably doing it for free, but it's still, this is recorded forever. So
Their
I
choice.
am,
I mean, whatever.
well, yeah, I guess. I mean, so it's nice that, living with Chucky and, right, am I saying that right? Living with Chucky? Yeah, living with Chucky. I keep thinking it's life with Chucky. And this one, everybody seemed normal.
Hmm.
It's there, and they didn't have weird
Maybe the
things.
Chucky people are normal.
It's possible maybe these movies just kind of screw people up because it's. But I was surprised with this, and this. I think maybe we should go movie by movie instead of kind of going all over the place because I will do that. So maybe I should stick with movie by movie. But I wondered why Tom Holland didn't do Living with Chucky. Like, wow, why wouldn't they get the guy from the first movie? Man, am I happy he was on this one. Just bashing the movie at the end. And then you have, was it David Kirshner and Don Mancini bashing him?
Yeah, they created Tommy, the Chucky doll in the second one, as because of Tom Holland, and they have it where he's like, "Fuck you, Tommy," or "Eat dirt, Tommy,"
Yeah, and throws
and
the
shit. Yeah, "Eat dirt, Tommy,"
when he's in
and
the grave.
that was all them, like, meow, and you know,
Well, it seems like, excuse me, there must have been something really harsh because it seems like Child's Play was the perfect synergy of everybody to get the movie that we got for people to love to then make a part two and a part three and all that. So it seems like without Tom Holland's input, without was John Lafia, I think is how it was his
yeah, I
name.
think that's how they pronounced it. It was weird.
Yeah,
I thought it was Lafia, but
yeah, Lafia,
Lafia.
yeah. And without his input, without Don Mancini, without, Kevin Yeager, without these guys changing things and improving on them, even if Don Mancini didn't agree with it at the time, like the Voodoo, it made for that perfect movie. And
Mm.
so you would think that maybe they would, I don't know, it sounds like they're still have bad blood
I
or
mean, it
blood
sounds like,
buddy.
I mean, so for people who haven't seen the documentary, um, the first movie was originally called Blood Buddy. It was a different script. Like it wasn't the exact same script. There was similarities, but it was a different thing. And Tom Holland originally was attached to direct it, but he didn't like the script necessarily. So but then he had to do another movie, so he had to leave, and he couldn't be on. So they looked at other directors, who I guess all seemed interested in it, but then once they get the script or whatever, they just did not. They weren't interested, and so they did not sign on. So I mean. I don't know. I forgot who was attached to it because I watched that last night. So I don't know who was attached to it. It might have been,
Yeah, I
um,
can't think. It was like four or five other people, and
yeah, and
they
all
all
of them were like,
said.
most of them I didn't know who they were. You know,
Tom Holland said that he left because he just couldn't do anything with it,
right.
and it was a friend of his who said, um, and who knew that Steven Spielberg was a big part of this, but it wasn't Spielberg who said it. But he said, why don't you do it from the point of view of the doll? And that's when he boom, it clicked on him that okay, now I got something to work with. But you would just it's the writing credits are very weird. So if you look at something like and I'll use Tom Cruise, The Firm as an example because that's a famous one. The guy's name who is first on there, I'm blanking on his name, rewrote the entire script. It even has a scene of Tom Cruise's character going into the law firm with a machine gun, which never happens in the movie, and I don't think the book. But he rewrote the whole thing, so he got top credit, even though they didn't use anything from his script. And then it just kind of went down. So Tom Holland pointed out you need to write more than 50% of the script. And so I guess there was the fight of Don Mancini, Tom Holland,
Hmm.
and then
And John LaFia, right? I think he
John
also,
LaFia. Yeah. And then because Tom Holland even pointed out that he didn't get story credit. So, but the way that I kind of look at things is it does. If I sent you a script and you sent me back notes and I changed it to those notes, I wouldn't put you as co-writer because you're just
maybe story credit, maybe.
no, no. Because
I
that's your people send scripts to friends and relatives and all the time to just get notes from and stuff. And so it's no, I don't think so. That was the problem with Tom Clancy when he divorced his wife when they were in California, is because he let her read the manuscript when they got divorced, and by California law, she gets 50%. So he had to, even though he wrote these books like this, and she read them and gave him some, some ideas, she still got 50% of like those revenues and stuff. Um, but I don't think just because you could give the script to five different people and they give you a bunch of ideas that you change it to, that I don't think that means they get writer's credit.
No. I've had people tell me ideas like somebody told me an idea for my 40 something prom script and that I ended up using, you know. Am I going to give her any kind of credit? Probably not. Special thanks maybe at the end of the movie, for that. But like that's up to me, right? Like if I direct it or produce it, making sure that gets in there. But like technically, no. I mean, it's and it's funny because it's a fun idea, but it's a small little thing, you know. It's not like it doesn't change the course of the whole movie or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, I think that it depends on how much is, that they contributed to
And it's usually like
the script.
writing, you know. So if they wrote 50% of the movie, meaning they went in there and they rewrote a bunch of stuff and wrote some, you know what I mean? Then you get the credit. I have a writing partner. I'm not going to say name or anything, but I have a writing partner and I've written a regular script and we're very proud of it. But we both wrote half of the script together, you know, and so we both got writing credit.
Well,
She
yeah,
got she got top billing, and she asked for that, specifically for this project. I said sure, because to me it's not, it's her and me, you know, but this was more of her baby than it was mine, in my
I
opinion.
think it matters who comes up with the idea. So then they could say story by you and her, and then screenplay would be different of who actually worked more on the screenplay. Because
That's true.
I mean, there was the thing that was going around with Good Will Hunting of who actually wrote it.
Yeah, some people said that that Matt came up with all the ideas, but Ben Affleck just typed it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Even on Family Guy, they make a joke about that where, Matt's at the typewriter and he goes, Ben, it'd be nice if you gave me some ideas. And he farts. And
Um,
he goes, there's my idea. And he goes, you just farted. He goes, well, it's gold, isn't it? It's so I think that so I find that type of stuff to be interesting because it's of you always look at stuff like movie posters and things like Bad Boys is the perfect example because it's been used as an example is Martin Lawrence is here, Will Smith is here, but on top, no, I think it's reversed. I think it's yeah, Will Smith is here, Martin Lawrence is here, but on top it says Martin Lawrence, then Will Smith. So that's all done by their managers and agents and everything is okay, well, Will Smith could be here and then Martin Lawrence could be back here, but Martin Lawrence's name has to come first. Because at the time he was the bigger star. Because he and Will Smith was Bad Boys is what made Will
yeah,
Smith,
I,
but it's interesting how these things always get, you
I
know,
remember I was talking to an agent with about Tony Todd coming on a project of mine. Fortunately, we not did not raise enough money for it, which kind of sucks. But Tony Todd was in talks, right? And one of the things the person said was either he gets, credit, like he gets top bill credit, Tony Todd in this movie, or and Tony Todd, right? So either or. I think we were going to give him top, because he would have been the main act. I mean, it was an anthology and he was the one, that was all right. I'll tell you guys, it was Urban Legends to Die For, and I still plan to make it, but it was like an Urban Legends anthology, and he was going to be the teacher, professor of the class of Urban. And man, I had a great plan for it where they were going to say they were going to do Bloody Mary, which is very Candyman, and somebody was going to mention Candyman, to his character. and he was going to say, what's Candyman or something like that, sort of just a reference to himself and everything. But unfortunately, can't do that anymore. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it matters on these things. The and with credits are very important. That's all
Mhm.
negotiated. And it's like OGP and I did a reviews after midnight for The Doorway, which is Roger Corman. It's produced by Corman. Roy Scheider's name's right on top. He doesn't come into the movie for 45 minutes and he's in it then for 15 and he dies. So,
But since he's the big name star, he either gets the
yeah.
big credit or and Roy Scheider, if there's a lead that has a big name too, So like if Robert Shaw was the lead actor that you see throughout the whole movie or so, then Robert Shaw will be first, and then it'll be and Roy Scheider using two Jaws names.
Well,
You
look
know.
at the poster for Jaws of how the names, those three names are organized.
Yep, Roy Scheider first, Richard Dreyfuss, and then Robert Shaw last. But as and Robert Shaw, think. I don't know, I've got the Yeah, it goes Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. I have the poster behind me. You can't see it, but it's behind me, I swear. So
Yeah,
it's got all three of them in there.
yeah, it's all negotiated,
Now, real quick,
so
before we get back to Doc of Chucky, which we will in a second, but
stay on
would you
target.
be okay if they ever remade Jaws, or would you be furious?
They did. It was called Deep Blue Sea.
I know, but if they did like an actual like Jaws, then did not call it something else. They said Jaws, you know, and they had three actors today, whatever, Robert Downey Jr. and
Oh no, it wouldn't be males at all. It would be three women. Two of them would be black. One would be Asian. One of them would be trans. One would be gay.
oh,
Uh,
I don't think Universal would do that.
oh, I think definitely they pull a Ghostbusters remake on that one.
God, don't give
So
them any ideas. Universal's listening. This is a Universal project here. So Universal's checking this
no,
out and
I
saying,
I
"Ooh, good
would.
idea. Thank you, John Ward. I'm not going to give you credit for it." You're not going to get credit for this.
Well, when you put this out, bleep it so they don't. So no, I would never see that. Maybe out of a morbid curiosity,
But if they did
but
do men, and they did, like I said, Robert Downey Jr., Bradley Cooper, and whoever would be the rugged guy these days, older
Tom
rugged
Cruise would
guy.
be the lead. Michael
Yeah,
Bay can direct it. Then I
but
would.
then you would Nick Cage. It'd be,
Nick Cage could be one of them.
yeah,
And
and
then we do have the one woman who would be Mila Jovovich. So it would be the three
that'd
of
be
them.
okay with you.
That'd be fine because she could play the scientist, and then Nick Cage could be the cop. He could be Roy's role, and then Tom Cruise could be the kind of like bittered war veteran.
You know what? For Blu-ray Hunter sometime, we should do like at least like if we don't do it once a month, something like once every other time or something. But we could do a thing like this where we just pitch ideas for what like we would love to see, and stuff like and just have that out there. I think those would be fun. Some people liked watching that. I don't know. Tell us down below if you would watch us pitching ideas for because like I would watch Tom Cruise, Nick Cage, and Mila Jovovich, together in a Jaws remake. As long as Michael Bay directed and what is it?
You'd have to have Jerry Bruckheimer and
I was
Steven
thinking Paul
Spielberg.
W.S. Anderson wrote it. That'd be crazy. You know,
Well, you would have. Yeah, so probably like Jerry Bruckheimer would be a producer, Paul W.S. Anderson would be a producer, Spielberg would be a producer, and because Spielberg's involved, then it would be David Cope or David Cap, however you say his last name.
who was the
It's
writer? Yeah,
yeah,
he did a
who's
lot of his
well,
writing.
and director. His directing is better than his writing, but it's weird on how his stuff is. But yeah, so I would
I'm
I would
telling
be
you, we should do a show like that. I think that'd be fun. It'd just be us
ah.
chit-chatting about that and coming up. We would each time you and I would come up with then I like either you or I would say we're gonna do a a remake of this, right? And you and I would on our own would come up with like ideas. This is who's we cast, who blah 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 blah, and then we would come together and we would say, and we would talk about it for a half hour, and then that's the show, is us talking about what we would see, and maybe people would, maybe Hollywood would listen to us. I don't know.
And
But,
then just steal our ideas and, like you say, don't
and
pay
that's
us.
okay. That's okay as long as it gets made, in my opinion. I would be okay with like them stealing the Tom Cruise idea as long as they don't steal the women Jaws idea. Like as long as they, so don't throw any stupid ideas like that out. Throw out the good
So
ideas.
to kind of get back to Chucky, what if they did another remake,
See, I
but
liked I,
now,
I liked what they said about this real quick. I just want to say they said in this movie that was it he didn't want to do a remake, he wanted to do a tonal reboot, is what he called Curse of
yeah,
Chucky. And I think that worked out better than doing, because we saw what the remake was like. Oh, we don't want that, but like a tonal reboot. Anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
so what if they did another remake though? And it was Chucky, but IE at the end, and Chucky was female. Not like Tiffany, but just like a female version of Chucky who's, swears like a sailor
We had that. It's called
and
M3 Me Mathregan, whatever he called
that's
them.
true.
I
Yes,
mean,
okay,
it's pretty
there.
much already been done. It's like, and then that's the funny thing is like Chucky kind of joked about it in Chucky about, oh man, she's stealing my boobs and she's doing, right? But that's true. Like they Blumhouse kind of took the idea of Chucky and made it Megan,
Yeah,
because
made it
she's the
female.
friend to the end, like she was, way too into the girl, and it was all about the little girl and it was all girl stuff, right?
Oh crap.
I haven't seen the next one though. I haven't seen
No, and I
part
do want to
two.
see it. You know what I feel like, since I just gave a pitch for Megan, is they did have a guy, this is a rumor, I don't know if it was true. 20th Century Fox, they were trying to think of Die Hard ripoffs. This is when they were doing all the Die Hard movies. And the guy goes into a pitch meeting and goes, I have a great idea for you. Die Hard in a skyscraper.
Hmm.
And they're like, yeah, it's called Die Hard.
Die, Die Hard and Skyscraper. Die Hard? That would be like, oh, I've got a great idea. A fire in a skyscraper. Yeah, it's called Towering Inferno.
There
You
you
know,
go.
I mean, we've already done
So,
that. Oh, well, then why don't we just remake, you know? And I'm not gonna be shocked when they remake Die Hard, because they've talked about doing it where they're gonna do like a young
yeah, like a
John
prequel.
McClane or something, but I wouldn't doubt if they're gonna just remake Die Hard after Bruce's passing, which I really hope is not for a while. I'm still loving that he's with us and he's with his family and and everything like that. But like he's unfortunately dealing with a lot of stuff right now, and it's sad. But
Well, I
he's
heard they're
not
doing a
coming back.
Rambo too.
Yeah, I've heard that they're doing
Doing it.
Rambo as well, but like John Rambo or something, and it was gonna be. Like, because I think that was about the time, wasn't that at the time that they did Rocky Balboa? So they were like, let's do John Rambo. Let's just put the full name of the people on there. So it's not Rocky and it's not Rambo, but it's like,
Well, it depends on what version of Rambo you watch. The unrated one, I think, is called John Rambo, while the rated one is just Rambo.
um,
So it's yeah. So it's because the
what is
one
it?
time he was supposed to fight the Predator, not the Predator, but a Predator, I should say, like a space monster.
Like a space monster, but I mean, I'd watch Rambo versus Predator, you know,
So they just
Predator versus Rambo, whatever you want to call it,
yeah, they just never
or
did.
Alien versus Rambo.
Well, in some ways, the Expendables that had Van Damme in it, he played the original Predator, and then they fired him and got the big tall black guy and put the regular costume on him. So he was the first Predator. So
They're like, nope, you're too small. Go away.
yeah, they just said it didn't work. It just
Did he
wasn't
try to do the
there.
splits? Was
No,
that it?
no. I think they said that's why they got him was because he could do that type of stuff. But man, we are
Mm,
so far off target.
it doesn't matter. It's
So
the
did
end of the
you
year. It's the end of the thing. So,
well, what did you take away from the first film
I mean,
of
all
this
the stuff you
documentary?
said about Tom Holland and stuff, it was cool to sort of know the backstory of how it all came to, because we talked about it, I think, a little bit, but like, Tom Holland doesn't come back as a writer on the second and all the other ones. So Don Mancini was the original. It's like Final Destination had Jeffrey Reddick, who was the original creator of Final Destination, though the two guys from X-Files came in and rewrote it and it became a completely different movie. Exactly. Well, not completely, but like it changed a lot, and stuff. And but with the core thing you know, wasn't really Jeffrey's idea, you know, and everything, as opposed to this, where Don Mancini's stuff, like the second movie, kind of really did feel like a sequel to the first one, you know, and everything. Like it was something, I guess, that Don went with, you know, and everything.
Yeah, I don't think it was an hour and a half. I looked. So I think it was like an hour and 28 minutes. No, I actually have it written down. It was 1 hour and 29 minutes. And it's long, and they talk a lot about the first movie, which is fine, because I don't think they left anybody out. I don't think they, so I like that they finally talked to Tom Holland and that he could give his side and they could give their side. And then I liked that we found out about Kevin Yeager and Kathleen Hicks.
Oh my God, yes. That okay, I did like that too. I posted some photos. I don't know if you saw I tagged you in the thing, but I made a
No.
post today about that we're going to be doing this and that I went through my Texas Frightmare weekend pictures, that I had. And I got to meet Catherine Hicks. I got to meet Brad Dorff. I got to meet one I'm bummed out about is Fiona Dorff. But at that time, I think I might have watched Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky, but I wasn't that into it as much. Now, if I got the chance, I'd definitely go meet her and get a picture with her because
Oh God,
she
I would
seems
love to
super
meet
sweet.
her.
Um,
She's in my crushes now
yeah,
for a while.
she's a big crush. But I got to meet, but I also got to see Kevin Yeager. He was there too, and he had like the one of the dolls from I think it was like the second movie or something, or whatever. And was it Don Mancini? I got to meet. He had the Child's Play 2 shirt on, so that was kind of cool. And so it was really neat to sort of meet all these people who, kind of. I mean, I'd only really been a fan of the first one at that time. I don't even think I had seen Bride of Chucky yet. So, and whatnot. But I love the first I enjoyed the first three. The first one I really like. I know you always say you don't like the first of many of the franchises, but this and Nightmare on Elm Street are two of my favorite like
Well,
first.
when we do our
Halloween.
ranking, you might be surprised of where the first one is at.
We'll see.
So it's yeah, I mean I think that we got a lot of really good information out of it, even though it did take up a lot of time because I wrote down all the times, and it looks like Child's Play 2 was like a little more was like a half an hour. I'm surprised with how much time they spent on Child's Play 3. And that was a little over a half an hour. So that was actually a little longer, I think, than Child's Play 2. And Bride of Chucky was basically a half an hour. And Seed had roughly a half hour. So almost every one of these, except for the first Child's Play, was a half an hour, give or take a couple minutes here and there. So, but I like that we, like I don't think Chris Sarandon was interviewed in Living with Chucky, so it's nice hearing him and knowing where Tom Holland got these people. Once again, it's that whole thing that if one of these people wasn't there, which is why I wish that they could just get along and kind of, water under the bridge type of thing, is without Tom Holland, we wouldn't have had Brad Dourif. He said was it the Whoopi Goldberg film that Dangerous Beauty or whatever it's called, and Fatal Beauty. And then he also worked with Chris Sarandon on, of course, Fright Night. So we wouldn't have some of this stuff
Yeah.
if these people had not come on.
Well, I did like how at the end, what's his name? Chris Sarandon mentioned that Chris Sarandon mentioned that he was happy to know that he was still alive, that Mike was still alive when he had heard that at the end of I guess Curse of Chucky, what's his name? Um
Yeah, Alex
Alex
Vincent.
Vincent is on the Andy is on the phone with his mom and says, "How's Mike?" You know,
I
the
never took
obvious.
that as the same guy until now.
Yeah. Well, I I didn't pay attention to that. I was like paying attention to the physical stuff going on, right? So it wasn't really all I heard was "Hi, Mom," and I was like, "Oh," like that registered in my head of like, "Oh, Catherine Hicks's character is still around. That's nice." And you know, they did talk about sort of like when they went to the sequel, part two, that they kind of did her dirty, man. You know, her and Chris Sarandon. I don't think Chris Sarandon cared. You know, like he
Well,
didn't.
her being Kathleen Hicks.
Yeah, Catherine Hicks was sort of thrown to the side, and then she was almost at one point gonna be like in a mental asylum or something and stuff, and they were like, no, that's not cool, don't make her crazy, because if you make her crazy you're making everybody crazy, because you know, I
But
thought that
isn't
was
that what
wrong.
she's in?
I don't
Doesn't
think
they
so.
don't they say that she kind of went crazy?
Maybe a little bit, but that's just wrong,
I
you
think
know.
that's because they did the same thing in Nightmare on Elm Street in part two. They said that Nancy was in an asylum.
Yeah, but then in part three, wasn't she like the leader of the asylum or something?
They no, they just threw part two away. They just said it doesn't exist.
But she became like the leader of the asylum or something, right? Or
Not the asylum. She was working with those kids,
yeah.
like the runaways and the drug addicts and stuff like that. So she was, I don't know, which like a caregiver or something or whatever, those sponsor type of thing. But I do agree with you. I think that when you have a film like that, but then what do you do in a sequel? Do you do, and I'm not agreeing with them or disagreeing, but it's what do you do? Do you just do the same thing over again and
I
just
mean, you're right. I mean, because if they had the mom, then it'd be the mom and protecting the kid again, and then and it would just feel like the same movie necessarily. Um, that's why Don Mancini was talking about how he was glad he got Andy into like the foster home, because like the first one was about a single mom dealing with the single mom stuff. Second one was about the foster care system and how a lot of parents probably take these kids but don't care about them,
no,
and
because it's
stuff.
it's it's the money. So I think in part two, the wife wanted to do it, but as oh man, am I happy they got Garrett Graham. I
Yeah,
love Garrett Graham. And
he
and
was great. And
yeah,
he
and
loved it. He was talking about like he loved it. Like,
well, yeah, and his character, the dad, didn't want the kids there.
right.
He he was he was
He was a villain, you know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's just doing it for the wife. And I mean, I guess we can go into part two a little bit too. It is how Jenny Agar hated the movie
Well,
and
she
was really disappointed with how it turned out. Because I'm like, oh, that sucks. She's not being interviewed in this. And then they don't really even mention her at the beginning of part two. And then all of a sudden, it's later when they're discussing the behind the scenes of part two that she's brought up, and then they show her little quote, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow. So far, we've had two people who really want nothing to do with this
Well, at least one of
series.
them showed up, that was Tom Holland actually showed up and
I think Tom Holland was probably got so much shit that because it in the Crystal Lake Memories might also be in his name is Jason is um the if you remember in Friday the 13th Part 2, we all thought it was one guy playing Jason,
hmm
and it wasn't. It was two guys. And the guy who jumps through the window at the end claimed everything. I'm actually in a movie with him. So,
Warrington Gillette, right?
yes, yeah, I'm in a film with him. Never met him, but he's in the movie. And he was going around to all the conventions. Oh yeah, that's all me. That's me doing all the stunts and all that stuff. And then the guy who was also there, then started also hitting the conventions. And the director or producer of Crystal Lake Memories said, because he never wanted to be interviewed. And he said, why don't you be interviewed and tell your side of it?
hmm
And that so they had the dueling Jasons going back and forth talking about it. I'm almost thinking that's what happened with Tom Holland is that people probably talk shit about him for not returning and all that he's like, look, I'm going to tell my side. I'm going to tell what happened. Because he was pretty nice all the way up until almost the end of that segment. And then that's when we started hearing about, like when Alex Vincent gets yelled at by him, when he's crying in the asylum. Do it again. Do it again. Now the stuff is starting to come out.
Steve
And he,
Dash. Steve Dash was the other Jason
okay.
guy, both of those guys, and they both do tour conventions and stuff. So it's gotta, man, I bet they can't be at the same convention because I don't know how that would be. Like there might be butting machetes at that point, together, Um, I didn't think about that because I didn't know like, well, I mean, they both played Jason. They're both listed on IMDb as Jason. So they both did it, but not, I mean, he can't say like Warrington Gillette can't say I did all the stuff, and neither can, Steve, you know.
I mean, I think it like for Friday 6, they fired the first Jason and then brought in the second guy. And you could see because they still used his footage, you could see the difference that the second guy's shoulders go like that, while the first guy's went like that. And they fired him
So who
because
was the first one? I don't know.
that I don't know. It's in the doc. It's in that
But
documentary.
the second one is C.J. Graham, if I'm correct,
Right.
and that's the one everybody knows, and that's the one who tours and does the. I don't have I met him. I don't know if I met him or not. I've met a lot of Jasons, because Friday the 13th is my favorite franchise of these, franchise. Like I mean I don't know why because they're all so simple. They're mostly them at the camp, right? So it's just camp a lot of the camp ones, but I just enjoy them. I don't know. They just make me feel it makes me feel weird to say this, but it makes me feel good to watch a Friday the 13th movie. I don't know.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's so I wonder if like CJ Graham, who I think I'm also in a movie of in but never met. He technically he can't really say that he's the Jason
He's not
in
just the
6,
Jason. Not
the
just the
Jason.
Jason.
He's
The
a
only
Jason.
Jason. Yeah. But
So
he's the
because there
main
is,
Jason because he's the one I think he gets more screen time, right? So,
well, maybe it's a percentage thing, like
yeah.
writing and stuff. That if the first guy was fired, but he only did 5%, but then CG Graham did 95%, then he could say, "Oh yeah, I'm the Jason in that." But that's the thing is that you could argue this, and that's to kind of get back to Doc of Chucky is I think it was Tom Holland saying, I'm gonna tell my side of this. And
Um,
then the other two got their side.
Speaking of sides and whatnot, we never got so Ed Gale passed away, I think this year. Was it this year that he
This
passed
year or
away?
last year, something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So Ed Gale passed away. Ed Gale was Chucky in the things. They did talk about him. It was this year, it was earlier this year. Um, they did talk about him on the documentary or whatever and stuff like briefly. But it's weird. I don't know when this documentary was made because it wasn't after, I don't think it was after all that stuff came out about him.
Oh, the
You know.
allegations.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not allegations. I mean, they caught him. Like he just didn't, I guess he didn't go to jail for it or something. But he got caught doing some nasty stuff and everything, or going to do nasty stuff with a child, and
Yeah,
stuff.
I didn't know any of that stuff, and I sent him a friend request, and he wrote me back saying, who are you? How do I know you?
Yeah,
And I just said, oh, you don't know me. I'm a fan. And then he accepted the friend request. But after all that stuff came out, it was kind of like, oh,
yeah.
oh.
Do I really want to be his friend? And
Well,
you
and there were
know,
other people too. Like Tom Holland mentioned that it was a little girl. It was one of the one of the crew, like one of the main crew's daughter. They put her in the Chucky stuff, and she's the one that runs behind Catherine Hicks towards the end. She runs from room to room. So Ed Gale, I guess, did some of it while other like little kids did some of it too.
hmm, well, here uh, I'm looking at one of my old things. Apparently, yeah, I wrote up. I sent a couple messages about Ed Gale and stuff to
He was
people.
also Howard the
Um,
Duck.
Also Howard the Duck. I mean, you can't get mad. Like, you can't blame a movie, you know, for the actors. Like, I still like Rosemary's Baby, you know. I hate that the director did some really nasty things, and I don't necessarily respect the
Well, one.
director.
He did one.
Yeah, he did, but I mean, it's pretty terrible.
I, I
Um,
I would say, I mean, yes, it is bad, but I would say that his was, if you're going off a terrible scale, was a lot better than the director of Jeepers Creepers.
oh,
So,
absolutely. Like, everybody's always like, you can't. See, there goes the difference. Like, I can't get mad at Jeepers Creepers, like the first one, because the director is a complete douche, kind of like child molester. But what I can do is I can get mad at the second one, where he's a child molester who's allowing children in, or he's writing for teenagers in a movie. Now they're played by adults. They're all over the age of 18, but they're playing teenagers, meaning that dude is sitting at a computer and saying, this person's 16 years of age is got his shirt off, you know, and in his underwear or something like that, or whatever it was. And that grosses me out way
it's
more than the movie itself.
well, it's weird, and I have mentioned this before, is the creeper is Vincent Salva.
Victor.
Victor Salva is Victor Salva. And that's, I think, very obvious. And I don't know if what he did came, if they knew, because it was on a movie called Clown House, and I
Uh-huh.
don't know if it was, if they knew about this before the first movie, but Francis Ford Coppola is a producer, and definitely after the first
No, they
movie, it
did.
was
No, they
known.
did. No, they did. Because that movie came out way after Powder, and Powder was his like first movie. Like, he had done a couple
He
like
did a nature, I think it's called like Nature of the Beast. Lance
yeah,
Hendrickson is in it,
he
and
did a couple I want to say adult movies, but they weren't like porn movies or anything, but they were adult centered movies, not and then he did Powder, and Powder was a children's movie, like a teenage, movie or whatever, and was weird fucking movie. Um,
well, it's Powder is a 10-year-old.
right.
I mean,
And
even though he's not in the movie, but when you look at him and he's white, he has no hair, I guess anywhere. And that's, you know, Salva sitting down and typing, powder looks like A. And so that's how, that's how his mind thinks. So it's
And then
um
so when he did that, they like, the original person uh from Clown House, the kid, who is now grown up at that, he grew up at that time, he boycotted the movie. And Disney didn't, I guess Disney probably knew, but they didn't, they thought nobody, it wasn't like the internet where everybody knows now. There's no way you cannot, you know, get or if somebody's like, oh, I want to work with Victor Salva, and somebody's going to send them, the producers, a, article about, or if the investors just Google Victor Salva, they're going to find some pretty nasty things that he did, and they're going to have to choose whether or not to work with him. And so you can't say that now. But back then, in the Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 days, there was probably people who knew, but they didn't really do their due diligence to find out. Plus, Jeepers Creepers one I don't mind because that's the people are of age. They're even though the creeper is a creeper, and he is Victor Salva. It's two kids that are like 19, 20 years old. If he wrote movies like that, I'd be completely okay with that. If he just made sure there was no kids at all on set, because no kids are allowed on set with a pedophile, you know, convicted pedophile. Or that stuff, like, what I mean, just don't, like, this just gross me out. But yeah, Ed Gale didn't, Ed Gale had done that stuff, got caught. He's not a good person necessarily, but I I I think in the scheme of things right now, Victor Salva is way worse than people like that are out there still trying to make movies about children and stuff, and just can't do that,
well,
like.
and that's seems to be my issue with Chucky the series, as I've pointed out in all
I
three videos, that it's and learning on this one, and I am not putting into the same category Don Mancini as with Victor Salva at all. But going into Child's Play 3, one, I wish that they would have interviewed the guy who played Alex. I think would have been nice. I really want him to be back in the show.
For what? What?
Child's Play 3.
Oh, yeah, they
Oh,
didn't really.
Andy. I'm sorry. I
They
said
didn't.
Alex. I
They
said
did.
the
Yeah,
actress.
they didn't interview Justin, did they?
No,
That's weird.
and I wonder why. I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to be part of it. But it's we find out that it didn't start with, I guess, Seed of Chucky. It started with Child's Play 3, with making the kid commander like bisexual or something.
Hmm.
And because I think even the actor says that he is. So, but yet this is supposed to be a teenager. And I don't know if he said that the age, of what the character was supposed to be. But I do have, see, one of the things that I have a problem with, and this is with anything, is I don't like it when something just becomes somebody's personality. And it seems to be like I'm a straight guy, but I don't constantly go. Speaking as a straight guy, you don't get that. But in these documentaries, when you're bringing gay characters in, or actors, or directors, or producers, or
Yeah,
whatever
they
it
have
is,
that guy. They have that person. I'm not sure what they are, if they're lesbian or something. But the from Arrowverse, the Bex person.
so I'm going to say she, even though she
Okay,
has a mustache and a beard now.
I know.
Um, yeah, it was on Arrow. She was also on. She was in Scream, the TV series, and she played, I believe, I don't know so much as Arrowverse. Maybe it's just implied, but I know in Scream, the TV series, that she is a gay character. But it's but she doesn't bring any of that stuff up. It's just being when you hear stuff of well, being a gay man or being a gay woman or whatever it's almost like this is now your personality. This is
Hmm.
who you have to tell people that you are when other people don't do that. And
Well, I mean, if they do it, they do it. To me, I don't mind. I don't.
it I kind of do because then everything goes in a certain direction
Well,
that
maybe that's the
it's
direction they wanted to go in.
yeah, and I guess maybe this shouldn't be my favorite franchise since I seem to have kind of an issue. Well, I would have an issue with that of any, with anything. It doesn't matter. I mean, if somebody just sat there and said, "Well, as a Muslim," no, I don't need to know that. You being a Muslim has nothing to do with anything. I don't need to know that.
I
Well,
mean,
as a woman, I don't need to know that. I know you're a woman. I don't care.
but Chucky is a very gay franchise, gay-friendly franchise, and they
Well,
want to be.
it is now.
Well, no,
It definitely is now.
it was even in Bride of Chucky, really, when they really tried to throw that in there. And it was
Well, Alexis Arquette, yeah.
yeah, Alexis Arquette, and I mean there were a few gay references and stuff like that, which was the plan. Like Don Mancini is gay. He wanted an outlet where he could express his LGBTQ, feelings and stuff, but without it, it's not all, at least it wasn't in the first few movies. It wasn't all about that, you know. Now when he got full, you know, custody of Chucky, the series, he was able to kind of go a little bit further with it. And plus that's where our time was going. Originally in 1980s, it was tough to do this stuff. You couldn't really make a lot of gay characters because people didn't want to see it, you
Well, there
know?
were more stereotypes,
Right.
and yeah, two women kissing or two men kissing was kind of taboo. But
Bride of Bride of Chucky had that gay friend who was helping them and everything. And so there was a lot of start of that. That was when I think that Don was like, I'm ready to like explore that, you know, that part of me, that
which is absolutely fine. I mean, there it is absolutely fine. And there are plenty of movies out there that have gay characters that have, whatever, and there's not a problem with that at all.
well, a lot of them are written and directed by straight men and stuff. And instead of, I don't know what sexuality the Wachowski sisters, were,
Oh,
who,
that's a whole other can of
right. But
beans.
they made Bound, which was a lesbian movie with Jennifer Tilly, that later becomes a big thing in the Chucky series too, and like at least one of the episodes. And because that was the movie that made Jennifer Tilly sort of famous. Um, Even though she'd done other things before, she even said she won that. I love, I do love in the documentary that they were originally leaning toward Tiffany Amber Thiessen for the Bride of Chucky because they knew they
Yeah.
could get her and it would be cheap, or and then they wanted Jennifer Tilly, and she had just won an Oscar for Bullets Over Broadway or whatever, and she was like, I'm she's like, oh, my agent called and said, I've got a movie offer for you. And it's like, oh, what is it? It was like, oh, well, it's about this girl doll, I'm not doing a fucking Chucky movie. And of course, she loved it when they started praising her and saying all these nice things about her and flattering her up and then paying her $100,000 a week. God, I'd love to get that much money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does admit later on that she was kind of dumb during those days, that it was more ego driven
Yeah.
than anything. So who knows, maybe over a period of time she mellowed out once she kind of became part of the family. And I do like that this does have a family, that it's a continuing group of people, and it's I don't know. It's like I could watch any of the seasons of Chucky, and it doesn't really, like the TV show, it doesn't bother me that much, but it bothers me a little bit with the two guys. But it's like I still love the franchise. I
Hmm.
still love, and it's even like something like watching the Arrowverse, which is woke as fuck, and I'm still watching it. I just kind of put up and deal with it. And because I like those comic book characters. But it's and I feel that I've had way too much invested to just stop.
Right.
But it's I'm glad that the show and the movies are have done the direction that they're going. I Because of Don Mancini, I think that he should be able to do what he wants. I think that if something like that bothers somebody enough, like just basically any of the gay stuff or lesbian stuff or whatever it is in this,
They don't have to watch it.
then stop watching it.
Yeah.
But my concern is just underage kids, that's all.
I I
But
know, and we've talked about that, and I agree 100%. If um there there is there's a lot of that stuff, and I'm especially if I don't know if those kids, those two guys, are actually gay, and so for them to play gay characters and to have this kind of thing at such a young age, it's kind of, I don't know. To me, it's a lot. I think that Zachary
I would
Arthur, who plays Jake, I think he is, but I'm not
I
sure.
think
I
they're
can't.
they I think that they're I mean, people say they know these things when they're like 2 or 8 or
Yeah, like,
whatever. But I think they are. I think both of them are.
yeah,
Or they identify
identify.
as
Yeah,
that.
identify as gay.
But I guess maybe if they were just gay characters, we get the kiss, and that's fine because excuse me, in Welcome to Derry, two of the kids, I'm assuming that the actors in there are probably close to their own ages because they're supposed to be like young teenagers. They do the kiss, like the guy and the girl near the end do the innocent kiss, the first time kiss. Didn't bother me at all. But I think when you're talking about anal sex and bathhouses and all with people that are under the age of 18, even if it's a guy and a girl or two guys or two girls, I think that's a little much. It really is almost grooming. And and I mentioned in the last video that bathhouses are not a good thing. And a lot of people died because they were in
Well,
bathhouses.
they talk about in the first movie, in the first Child's Play movie, that Andy was Alex Vincent himself was kind of sheltered away, was not allowed to see any of the gory deaths and things like that, right? And stuff. And I wonder about that because, they weren't allowed to see, he wasn't allowed to see that because he was underage, right? He was a child. And they didn't want to, like, I guess, scar a kid, you know? It's the same thing as I'm not going to show my 3-year-old nephew actual Child's Play. He sees Chucky and thinks he's cute. Because he's a doll, but he doesn't know that, like, Chucky goes and murders people. And if he saw that, it might change his mind on Chucky, might make him go, I don't like that. I don't want, ew,
Right.
that reminds me. Like, you might give a kid a little PTSD anytime you saw Chucky. You might like, I'm thinking he's gonna come kill me now and have nightmares. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So when it comes to sexual stuff, especially teenagers, I mean, a lot of kids do that stuff, you know? Like a lot of that stuff is, handled, but they, it's, I don't know. I can't say. I obviously they handled everything. Like they have to get permission to do all of this stuff, including parents' permission and all of that stuff. If their parents sign something saying I have, we give you permission to do this, then I say, I guess, even though I think it's whatever. I like I'm not into it. Like I'm not like ugh, you know. But I am afraid of those people who are into that stuff, who are into underage kids. Like Victor Salva may enjoy the show, you know, and stuff because they're the stuff's like
Well, they Kick-Ass, Hit Girl. I remember reading a review going, wow, every pedophile must be loving this. So and even though there was nothing sexual in the movie, there was nothing, she at the time was underage, she was just a little girl, and she kicked ass and she did all
gosh,
that.
kick ass.
It Yeah, kick-ass girl kicked ass. They were mentioning, oh yeah, these pedos are probably really enjoying this. So when you're I just think and you could use the whole thing of course, I remember I think it was probably seventh grade that I remember people hooking up at parties. And
Mm,
that's where I really started to hear about stuff. And
hmm
then it just kind of continued through there. So yeah, so I guess kids their age in real
I
life would be hooking up.
right, and I when we talked about Euphoria before, but those guys are like in their 30s playing playing teenagers and stuff. So it still bothers me because like, it's the idea that even though we're seeing this stuff, like another good example is Kids. You've seen that movie Kids?
Yeah.
That's gross to me now, like thinking about it. I own the movie from Umbrella, especially for the documentary, because there's a great documentary on it. But it, it grosses me out to think that kids these are real kids doing all these things. Or they're real kids having sex. I mean, they weren't having, I don't think they were having sex. They were just looking like they were having sex, but I mean, they looked like they were having sex. And Larry Clark's just this old man who's watching this stuff. And to me, that's just weird. Like, I know you're trying to do something edgy and show off what the real world is like, but like sometimes we don't need to see that kind of thing. And Paul, I don't know why Paul likes it, and he talks about that because he also showed me that movie Happiness. I don't know if you saw that.
Uh, yeah.
That
That
movie,
guy's not made one happy movie, and happiness is obviously the title is ironic. So
right.
it's
Well, and it's also got a pedophile character who is like trying to justify why he's a pedophile in the movie.
well, and the worst thing about happiness is his son, once he finds out what his dad is, he says, well, why haven't you done anything to me? And the dad goes, because I masturbate. Which means the dad would have that's the only thing in that movie that's ever stuck out to me because I went, wow, this is a really disturbed filmmaker. And maybe because I'm getting older, I'm now thinking with Euphoria, I didn't even think about stuff. It's just like, oh, hot chicks naked. And then, that one girl I told you when I did the post about Euphoria, she goes, I can't watch it because they're teenagers. And I said, well, they're over. I mean, they're adults playing teenagers. And she didn't respond. But now I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe she's right. I mean, I
It's,
don't think teenagers need to be seeing, you know, 50, like 40-year-old men having anal sex with a trans person. And, you know, I
I
don't,
mean, that's the thing. Well, I mean, and I don't know who are they marketing it for, like
teenagers.
are they marketing it for teenagers? So they want teenagers to watch a movie that gives them ideas of what they could do. I mean,
Exactly.
and that to me sets kind of a wrong precedent. So I don't watch you. I watched the pilot, and I probably didn't even make it all the way through because once I realized it was teenagers having sex and stuff, like grossed me out. Like I was just like, I don't want to see this. Like this would be like me seeing that stuff. I just grosses me out. And
But then you have to think, now maybe you wouldn't watch this now because of the way you feel, is something like Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I don't
Those
know.
were young adult
You're right.
actors. The famous scene with Phoebe Cates,
And she's supposed to be what, 18, 17, something
no,
like
she's
that?
supposed to, I think she's supposed to be like a junior. because the brother Brad is a senior. I think his sister, who's Jennifer Jason Leigh, is probably like
A sophomore
a
or something.
sophomore somewhere in there. So that means that Phoebe Cates' character is probably the same, but she only dates college guys. She mentions that. So she being underage is dating somebody who's over 18.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. Like, because it's so weird. When you see Jennifer Jason Leigh in that movie, she is um she is a she looks like a child. She is like she was like 22 at the time. She looked like she was 16, 15, in that age range. And she has like two sex scenes
Yeah,
in the movie. And it just now like grossing me out a little bit more
but directed
as an
by a
adult.
woman.
It's directed by a woman. I don't know. It's kind of like that movie Kids, because I think what they were trying to do was show what teenage, because I used to, I mean, aside from that stuff, I still love that movie. Spicoli is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
All the rest of the movie is fantastic. Um, so I don't know. I don't think I could stop watching that movie
So maybe
because of
watch the
that.
TV version that cuts out the sex scenes.
There is the TV version,
Then
right?
you're fine. Phoebe Cates getting out of the water has the full bikini on, and he's just dreaming to her getting out of the water.
Oh
They
my
cut the
God.
sex scenes, or maybe they cut before the nudity happens. But
No.
it's because with something like this, to go back to the films, is finding out with part three, which excuse me, which I still really like, is this kind of underlying thing of, well, the actor who plays like the main sergeant guy, the mean guy, is maybe having something to do with the guy who's like right below him, like his the guy that's like his, I don't know what you would call them in military.
Superior,
No, well, the superior is the mean guy. So let's
right?
say the guy, but so we'll say he's the manager, and then there's the assistant manager that's with him, that's like the other mean guy. So the impression that I got was, what weren't were they hooking up, or was it a closeted thing? Because the actor who plays the manager is telling the audience in the documentary, well, I'm bisexual. So that means the character is bisexual. And Don Mancini didn't seem to have a problem with that. But they did do the guy girl relationship. So I guess you could make up things, or you could think things at the time and then talk about them later. Like, I don't believe the Wachowskis when they sit there and say, oh, yeah, The Matrix is a trans story. I don't believe that at all. I think that was thought of later. I think that once this whole thing was going on with them, they would, oh, yeah, it's all about trans.
Yeah.
It's like,
Now it's a trans story.
yeah, I don't think so at all. I think that's whatever. I don't think so. But when after part three, and then we get into Bride, and you're getting, like a Japanese director, and he's coming in, and he probably doesn't know any of the stuff that's going on because, like you said, he never saw Chucky, he doesn't watch horror movies, and I didn't get anything about that in Bride of Chucky. It was like a straight horror movie with a guy and a girl on the run with two dolls that are a guy and a girl. There was nothing except for, I guess, Alexis Arquette. But Alexis Arquette, I don't know if his character was supposed to be gay or trans or cross-dressing.
Well,
Is he
because they
just kind of,
mentioned it, because they said, like, even one guy was like, I didn't even know he was trans until like they saw him in like drag or whatever, or something. So,
oh,
okay.
I knew before that he was a gay
Right, but some
icon.
people just didn't. I
Yeah.
mean, probably didn't even know who he
Well,
was
yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. I mean, that's because he's very straight in Children of the Corn 5.
But
Um,
he's not very straight in Wedding Singer, where he plays the
right.
where you really want to hurt me, you
Yes, I
know,
do.
like that scene
But
from Wedding
but
Singer.
even that was okay. So Don Mancini is taking more control, and he has a gay icon come in, just like John Waters, and Seed. That to me is completely understandable. It's completely understandable because if you're a woman, you would want to, and you're writing it, you would probably want a female icon to come in. If you're gay, you would want a gay icon. If you're straight, you would want one of your straight icons to come in.
Well,
And
that was my favorite part of Seed is him talking about he's gonna find her a hot, guy or whatever to be her fan or whatever that, to be her, you know, like to be her chauffeur and everything. And then she's like, well, he's not really my type. He's more of Dawn's type, which is probably true. It's like Dawn was like, "Ooh, this is a hot guy," but not what Jennifer Tilly would find hot,
it's funny is when they showed the chauffeurs, well, with Seed. Oh, I want to go with Bride. So I was thinking about before watching. By the way, it says Doc of Hucky,
Hucky,
um,
Hucky.
Doc of Hucky. I was thinking about Doc of Chucky, and I'm like, I wonder who they're going to get, and I wonder who they're not going to get. And I was going, I wonder if they're going to get Katherine Hagel to talk
Catherine
about
Heigl,
Bride.
yeah,
Yeah, if they're going to get her to talk about Bride of Chucky.
did
And I'm
not.
like, I don't know. And right after I was thinking that, I'm watching YouTube, and all of a sudden a commercial comes on, and she's hawking women's leakage support underwear. And I'm like, this is what your career has come to. You're promoting basically Depends for women. And before that, there's like the Chris Pratt commercials for Best Buy, which he probably makes a lot of money from, because
Yeah, she
everybody
might
like
make a lot of money from that stuff.
she might, but I don't think her commercials are getting kind of like the same response as as
Chris
Chris's
Pratt.
are, Chris Pratt is. And I just thought, wow, I really hope she decided to be in this documentary after seeing that commercial. And she
Nope,
wasn't.
she
And
was
which
not.
is disappointing because she has been in, she was also in, was it Valentine? And some other horror movies that it would be nice to kind
Well,
of hear what she has to say.
I don't know. There's a lot of talk about how she kind of became sort of a diva
Oh, massively.
on sets. But then I heard a lot of stories about how she's kind of calmed down because she sort of realized, probably through lots of, hearing a lot of stuff about herself, that she sort of changed her tune maybe and sort of realized that she shouldn't act that way because otherwise she's not going to get work, and
Well,
stuff.
that was the big thing on Knocked Up.
Yeah.
Is that she called it like in interviews like a boys club and all that, and that the Judd Apatow camp is quite large. So yeah, you're going to get blacklisted from a lot of movies when you're talking shit. And so I think that's what happened. It was the same thing kind of with Megan Ward with like the Transformers stuff, is that
Megan Fox, not
Megan
Ward.
Fox, God, Megan
Oh
Ward,
my
there's another one.
God, don't do that. You
Love
know.
Megan Ward. Yeah.
I know I love Megan Ward too. You want to marry her just so she'd be Megan Ward Ward.
I love that. Megan Ward hyphen Ward, I think would be great.
Yeah.
But it's Megan Fox then started saying that Michael Bay it was like working for Hitler. Well, who produced the Transformers movies? Spielberg. He's Jewish. He's actually the one who didn't want her back because it's just like, no, we're not going to do
But
this.
she
Michael
did
Bay
come back,
had
didn't she?
for Turtles, for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They kind of made up. She was not in. She was replaced on part three, and with another actress, with like a model. So no, she didn't come back. She came back for the Turtles movies. I don't. I think she's in Turtles too, but not
Turtles 2.
yeah, but
Not
not
Secret
in
of the Ooze, but the other one.
the Michael Bay produced Turtles movies.
Yeah,
So, but
they were talking about rebooting it again. I don't know.
well, they're
I don't
doing
hope not.
cartoons. So, but I really wish that she had been in there, and it seems like they got everybody that they probably could. And I love how they talk about John Ritter. Everything seems to be this is why it's this weird synergy that these people have that they know. Oh no, now I'm out of it. Now I'm in it. Now I'm out of it.
You're out of
That looks
what?
better. Out of the shadow. There's this
Oh.
weird shadow because I moved the table. But it seems like without the people that worked on the film, and I think that was more of like a David Kirshner thing, is John Ritter. And even like the director, I think it's Jack Bender, who did the second Chucky.
Mm.
That's how they Jack Bender. Oh, that's and Don Kirshner produced. Am I saying his name right?
David Kirshner.
David Kirshner. Thank you. Don Kirshner was with the Monkees. I think I've made this mistake before. And because I'm just used to Don Kirshner. So David Kirshner worked on a TV movie that I love. And you can't find it. It's actually it's on YouTube, but you can't find like a physical copy of it anymore. Called The Dreamer of Oz, and it's all about the Frank L. Baum, um, author of Wizard of Oz, and it's great. And Ritter plays the author, and so you got the director of that and Ritter. So then you got the director on two, um, part three, and then you got Ritter into Bride.
Well,
So
actually, that was two. He was in two. He directed two. Jack Bender, I think, only did two. No, no, you're
no,
right.
he
He
did
did
three.
three. He did three because they got John Lafayette for two, and then he didn't want to come back for the third one, which they were kind of disappointed about because they had, had a great time on the second one. But I'm glad because then Jack Bender was able to do a really good job in part three.
Yeah. And it's all kind of like who you know. And so I enjoyed that. So it's, and then Seed, which is where Don Mancini, of course, had full control over it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it goes full rainbow flag. Um,
Yeah.
and we get Glenn or Glinda, and we get which I'm still confused about the later on when they're twins, but those were the series. But I'm a little disappointed that this didn't cover the TV show or even the remake, but I
I'm
get
glad
it.
it didn't because it would have been 7 hour, 8 hours long. And
Oh
I'm like,
fuck
thank
yeah,
God, yeah.
there's
It
so
was a big
much.
enough already. There's enough information, and even you were like trying confused because you were like, the first one's like an hour and 29 minutes. Like, what's the rest of it's gonna be like? And I mean, they fit as much as they could in there, but I mean, if all of them were an hour and 20 minutes or an hour long, we would have gotten 7 hours, 8 hours of stuff, and that's just way too much. And I think they were enough long. They were long enough. I mean, maybe even too long because like 5 hours is a long ass time.
Well,
Um,
they're trying to do the other ones, like the Friday one and a Nightmare one, where they're just in detailed documentaries that will be like the definitive, I guess, documentaries of these. Well,
yeah,
do you want to quickly get through the other ones so then we can talk about our rating and not make this 3 hours?
I guess. I mean, the other ones are Curse and Colts, really. I mean,
Well, Seed is great because I love the Hollywood stuff. I love John Waters in it. I'm curious of when all this is made because John Waters says, I would love to come back to another Chucky. And of course, he's in the last episode of the TV series for season three. So he got his wish, but the TV show's never mentioned, the remake is never mentioned, which is obviously intentional. But so I wonder if
well,
this
I
was,
probably couldn't do the talk about the remake because,
well, it's a
uh,
different company.
yeah, it's MGM who, like, once again, the first movie they mentioned, MGM had it. Then was it the guy who took over for MGM? He the company that took over wanted to do family friendly stuff, and they didn't want Chucky and with it, right? So they said, let's throw that away, and we're not throw it away, but like let's not do the sequels. You can do sequels. You could pitch it around to whoever you want, and they'll do the sequels. So they gave the rights to David and Don, and they went to Universal because of their involvement with Steven Spielberg, at least David's involvement But Steven Spielberg pretty much said, go to Universal. They'll be
It's
a good fit.
amazing that Spielberg's involved in so many movies that we don't know about. Even like
Yeah,
Paranormal Activity, he's the one
yeah,
who gave him the ending.
yep,
Oh yeah, they shouldn't, yeah, she should survive. Throw him at the camera, and then that way you guys could do sequels.
yeah. Then
So if Spielberg gives advice, if he had his own YouTube channel, advice by Steven Spielberg, I guess I would have to listen to it because
I
he's
like
doing.
it better that he doesn't have a YouTube channel and he's doing this whenever people come to him and say, "Hey," because apparently Paranormal Activity scared him. So like if he got scared by Paranormal Activity, I'd love to show him another like I would love to do a horror film and be like, "Steven, what do you think of my horror film?" "Oh my God, it's terrifying." "Nah, you should." And can I use that as a quote, please? It's terrifying, Steven Spielberg. But anyway, yeah, so they did they went to Universal and Universal loved it. They thought it was great and they ended up giving it to they ended up doing that. And then the first one did very well, so they made a sequel. Sequel did well, didn't do as well as the first time. And then they were going to do the third one quickly. That was when we've already talked about the third one, and then that bombed badly. And I didn't bomb, but it didn't do as well. And so they're like, let's take a break on it. And they come back with Bride, and I love because like the head of the studio at Universal at the time, I think it was Mark Platt, I want to say is his name.
That name sounds familiar. Yeah.
So he said, he was like, I have a new interest in Chucky because my child, my girl went to a slumber party with her friends and they rented all three Chucky movies and they watched it. And so they wanted, he had interest in it again from that. And I thought, what a weird thing to think about, like how movies get interest from their children. Children bring something up. Daddy, don't you do the Chucky movie? We want to see more Chucky movies. Oh, all right. Let me
Well, and
get
there's
on
these
that.
young girls. When I worked at Blockbuster way back in the day, we would have these young girls come in their pajamas,
Yep.
and they wouldn't rent Grease. They would rent Grease 2 because Michelle Pfeiffer was the lead. And so I always thought that that was weird. So it's like, okay, wonder why they never made a Grease 3. It seems to be that these young girls really like Grease
Probably
2.
Grease 2 probably did not do well in the box
Oh no,
office.
it bombed. It
Right.
bombed.
So
Yeah.
like people don't think like, oh man, this now if you were to like if if a studio head who owned, I don't know who owns Grease, but whoever owns Grease
But
were see their daughter,
was
you
Paramount,
know,
but
yeah, so David Ellis's daughter would watch, Grease or something, and then would be like, "Oh, I love Grease too. Why didn't they ever make a Grease 3?" And you're like, "Well, let's make a Grease remake, reboot, and make it for today's audience." That might be what would happen today.
which they
Uh,
kind of did because they did do a TV
that's
version of
right. They
it.
did that TV thing, but they did
Yeah,
that for like Peter Pan, and they did that for a bunch of
yeah.
other stuff. I don't know. I liked. Um, I don't know.
Well,
I
that's
like the
why I'm
idea.
I'm glad that they never that the remake that they did do is whatever, and that they just continued with this story because it really is like 1 through 3, and then Bride and Seed, and then Curse and Colt, and then the TV series, and then whatever comes next. So it's
They're all in like little pairs, or
yeah, because
whatever.
they're almost like reinventions of it. They're not reboots, but they're I wouldn't even say that they're what do they call it in Scream? Not a reboot, a requel. It's
A
not really even
requel.
like
It's not a requel either.
no, it's not like it's just it's them like you said tone. It's just changing the
Yeah,
tone.
it's a tonal reboot, is what they called it, and I like
Yeah.
that. I like that because, but also for Bride of Chucky, which I didn't mention, was that like they apparently that studio head guy got fired in between them making the movie and whatnot and stuff. And so all of a sudden, this woman who had no interest in Chucky, did not like Chucky, wanted to make Academy Award films and stuff like that, not movies like this, didn't like it, didn't want it until it did very well. Until it
That's that's if you even watch the Friday one, they talk about Buchler talks about how it's a woman at Paramount who tried to get Friday 7 canceled.
right.
So it always seems to be these women producers that want to cancel these things unless you're a Gail Ann Hurd, somebody like that who appreciates these types of things, or a Deborah Hill.
Oh,
And
rest in peace, Deborah.
yeah, that is sad.
I think
So
Gail's still with us, right?
yeah.
Oh man, I love her. Like her and Deborah, I think they were friends too, if I'm correct. They actually knew each other, were cool with you. Like that's the kind of stuff I like to see because those women were pioneers in the horror genre, in the sci-fi and horror genre and stuff, and doing stuff for, making strong, independent women who aren't the stuff that we make today. Like freaking Linda Hamilton in in Terminator and Jamie Lee Curtis in the original Halloween. Those two were badass women. I mean, at first Jamie Lee Curtis's character was not, and everything like that. But I think throughout the whole thing, she fought Michael, you know,
Well,
and
she
stuff.
she grows just like Sarah Connor does, as
Yeah,
a
Sarah Connor at
waitress.
first is very weak and stuff and everything. So yeah, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. I love those arcs. Um, I watched this video the other day where they said that they watched an interview with a writer or something. And in the interview, the writer says there's a problem with writers today that they go into this thing where they're like the person says, something inappropriate and the people go, "Oh, that's gay bashing. They can't say that." Right? That person can't say that. And they go, well, here's the thing. If they don't say it in the beginning, by the end, they can't, like by the end, they can't be transformed, right? And that's the thing. You go through an arc. They have to say the mean thing that makes them unlikable to later be, changed and everything. But nowadays, these young writers say, "Oh, you can't say that. You can't do that. We can't have that happen." And that's the problem is 20-year-olds don't understand that that writing consists of a character arc. Sarah Connor in the beginning of Terminator has to be this waitress who can't fight to save her life, so by the end of it she's a badass shooting thing and then later can take on the series where she becomes more badass, and everything.
Well, that's why I laughed at the writer's strike. It's like, and I know it was mostly about AI, I guess, but it's
Yeah.
just like, you guys wouldn't have to go on strike if you just wrote good movies, and didn't, when everybody is basically Ray and they're all Mary Sues, then who have no arcs or anything, I nobody wants to see their movies. So which is interesting because even if you look at something like Chucky, who from the first film you would think is more like a guy.
Hmm.
He's just a guy. And then by, let's say, Seed and then into the TV show, all of a sudden he has this son or daughter or both, and he's saying male, Tiffany's saying female, and then we get the whole Glenn and Glenda thing, and then by the show it's two people that he's split, or she split into two people, and then Chucky is talking about, oh yeah, I have a, I don't know, I forget if he says a gay son or a trans son, but
He,
um
he says something very specific. He says, I have a uh crap, what does he say? I'm gonna see if it's in a quote because I really love the quote, but I just can't like it's been
He
a
says
few
gay or
weeks.
trans. It's one of the two. And then that's when Jake's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not a monster."
Yeah,
So
that was the
even
best quote.
even Chucky has these um, you know, he transforms. He has these arcs that, if you like it or not, that's, it doesn't matter. It's the arc happens. And because it would be boring if he was just Chucky through the entire movie and
Hmm.
or through the entire series. Then he would just be boring. But he changes and gets different motives and has different attitudes and I think that's where Don Mancini started really working with stuff like, because after Seed, which I really like, because I love all the Hollywood stuff, and I think Jennifer Tilly is absolutely gorgeous in that film. And him now starting this whole thing of Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany and switching and all that stuff. And then with Seed, how it gets even more involved. And it's I like how they talked about Redman in it for
Hmm.
Seed, how they wanted Tarantino.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. I don't think I'd want somebody that big.
I the only reason I didn't understand Redman was because he's not a director. He's never directed anything. So like, I could have understood if he said, "This is going to be my first film," and blah blah blah. But like, it sounded like they were trying to make him out into a director, and he
I
wasn't.
well, I think there's Redman and then there's Redman in the movie. Kind of like Jennifer Tilly said, I want to be like this total diva. I
Right.
want to be this like total bitch. And we know from these interviews and stuff that she isn't that way. So I
Yeah.
think with Redman, it's the same thing. Oh, in the script,
Maybe.
it's written as a director, so you're a director in the movie, even though you're not in real life, but you are playing yourself.
Um, um, so the line is, I have a queer kid. And Jake says, "You have a kid?" He goes, "Gender fluid." He goes, "And you're cool with it?" It's like, "I'm not a monster, Jake." So
Yeah,
that was the,
yeah, there he is. Yeah,
but yeah, he's a gender fluid. So that's how he kind of described them. I knew he described them somehow, or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Which,
And it works for this series because if you really want to play something like, I don't know, non-binary or trans or whatever it is, I tend to think Cult of Chucky is really that one of the separate Chuckies and being different identities and things like that would be more maybe of that because with Curse going back to horror and there only being one doll, the best thing for me about Curse really is when the makeup comes off of Chucky, which is great. And we just see, because I was really bummed when I first started watching it, going,
they even said a
oh,
lot of people, a lot of fans were mad, and they're like, "That's not Chucky."
but it's perfect that it just peels off and then there's all the stitches and it's
They
like,
said they,
yes.
they said they don't know how Chucky knew plastic surgery, how to do plastic surgery, but you just kind of let that go because it's a great scene.
We might have learned how to put on makeup and everything from Tiffany. So,
Maybe.
or maybe just watched YouTube or whatever it is. It's it really works and I never thought about it because it's kind of like the third arm that's in Predator when Schwarzenegger's on all the mud. He put all the mud on him. There's no way he'd be able to get his entire body in mud unless he had a third arm because his entire body is in mud. One arm would never have mud on it because that's the arm that has to put all the mud on him. So the predator doesn't see him. So he has to have, they make the joke that, well, he would have to have a third arm. So it's a continuity error. But I don't think it's necessary in this to find out how he was able to take that plastic, whatever it is, on his face.
Yeah.
And it's just a very cool moment. And
Just look cool. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, and I like how they talk about bringing where Jennifer Tilly thought that she wasn't going to be in it anymore, and then it's like, no, we wrote a part for you, and then we get Alex Vincent back, And then with Colt, it's the same thing. It's just this ongoing thing, and I like how they talk about with Curse that it's a like an old Victorian house, and then in Colt, it's this cold, sterile, very white, like asylum, and
It's Cuckoo's Nest,
yeah, yeah, because
which
you
Brad
can't.
Dourif is in.
Yes, so that's which he mentions that. I think he's
Yeah, and
mentioned that.
he mentioned that. And he mentioned that. I mean, because he has Chucky has that line. Oh, it's fucking Cuckoo Nest.
Yeah,
And it's funny. I love that kind of stuff where they reference their own movies or their own. I've always loved that ever since like Scream or whatever, or, things like that, where they just mention their own. Actually, probably the first one I ever watched was you remember that movie? Did you ever see Repossessed? You know,
once, very long time ago.
yeah, well, Linda Blair plays the possessed girl and she's repossessed, and a
Yeah,
lot of it was like references to Exorcist, which, was references to her own movies and stuff.
well, I just got a message, and it's because at the very end of this, even when I was looking through the credits, I saw a name of somebody who I know, and I messaged you, and I messaged him, and that's Tom Devlin.
Mm.
And I'm just like, what? All of a sudden, Tom Devlin's name is in the credits, and so I messaged him, and I wrote, I'm doing a video tonight with my friend Jonathan, and we are reviewing Doc of Chucky. And I saw your name at the end credits. So I sent in the picture and I circled his name. I said, damn dude, your name's on everything, LOL. And he wrote, I totally forgot about doing that podcast today. Well, yeah, because we're going to do a one filmmaker. So sorry. Can we do it sometime next week? I'll put it on my phone. He goes, yeah, that was a fun project. So
Oh, cool.
it's nice knowing people who have worked on these things. So
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
it,
it's such a small film world if you really like, especially like that's like I've met, Andy, I've met Alex Vincent, I've met all these, a few of the actors from this movies and stuff, and but it's like I think the convention world and then the film world in itself is just so small, So like you can say, oh, I know, I'm friends on Facebook with Alex Vincent. Very cool, I love seeing it because there was somebody who said, "Can I call?" It was I was watching him on like live on like an Instagram live. Alex Vincent just did one recently and everything, and somebody wrote, "Can I nickname you Andy?" And he goes, sure." And he goes, "That's very unoriginal, though. You could just call me Alex because that's my name." I was like, that is awesome. Like he's such a down to earth dude, or whatever. He was gonna have I think gonna have Christine on to talk and stuff about whatever and everything. And somebody asked about season 4 of Chucky or whatever, and he said, whatever people are saying right now are rumors because I have not even been talked about on that. So, you know, he can't say anything.
yeah, it's
Um,
probably going to be a couple years. So,
I think it's just going to be a movie. They're
oh
not
no,
gonna.
it is a movie. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
something.
Well, they're saying that there's a season 4 coming, or something and whatnot, and he knows nothing about that. So most like, unless it got changed to another like streaming channel or something, which could Peacock, I guess, could take it.
Sure.
Please no, no offense.
Well, do you
I love you, Shutter at times, but not. Yep, no.
want to do our rankings?
Sure. All right, let's go rank by rank. I'll give mine, then you give yours. And let's start with number 12. Okay? So you've got 12
Oh,
on there, right?
I have 13.
What am I
One,
missing?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
One, two, three. Okay, Child's Play 1, 2, 3. Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, um,
Curse, then Cult,
Curse, then Cults.
And then I have Living, the documentary Living with
Living.
Chucky. Chucky seasons one, two, three,
One, two, three.
and then Doc of Chucky and Child's Play remake.
Ah, I did not put the Child's Play remake in there. That's why. Fuck, I keep forgetting that one because yep, I know where that's going. All right. So
So do
drum
you want to
roll, please.
start from worst to best?
Yes, worst to best. So number 13 is Child's Play remake.
Number 13 is Child's Play remake.
Is that for you too?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yep. All right. So number 12 for me is Child's Play 2. What's number
Uh, Number 12 for me is Living with Chucky.
understandably. Number 11 is Child's Play 3.
Number 11 for me is Doc of Chucky.
Okay. I seem to like those a little bit better than you did, but all right. Number 10 for me is Seed of Chucky.
10 for me is Child's Play 3.
Number 9 for me is Living with Chucky.
Number 9 for me is the original Child's Play.
Ooh, you did tell me that was gonna be, yeah, I mean, I was gonna be shocked or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'm really not because you did tell me that was not one of your favorites and stuff. So, number 8 for me is Cult of Chucky.
8 for me is Chucky season 3.
Number 7 for me is Chucky season 2.
7 for me is Curse of Chucky.
Number 6 for me is Chucky season 1.
Number 6 for me is Chucky season 1.
Sweet. We got a couple of the same. Yeah. Number 5 is Curse of Chucky.
5 for me is Bride of Chucky.
Number 4 is Doc of Chucky.
Number 4 for me is Child's Play 2.
I did really like it. Like I thought it was a great documentary and then really got into a lot of the stuff. And so I thought that was really cool.
I was also
Um,
kind of going off of when I watch these, again
yeah,
type of
no, I
thing.
get
So
that. And number 3 is Chucky season 3.
3 for me is Seed of Chucky.
Okay. Number 2 is Bride of Chucky.
2 for me is Chucky season 2.
Okay, so drum roll. Number 1 is Child's Play for me.
Number 1 for me is Cult of Chucky.
Really? Cult of Chucky got number 1?
I love Cult of Chucky.
Oh,
I
interesting.
love all the different Chuckies. I love the location. Yeah, I really like Cult of Chucky.
They called that one dude Buzzcut Chucky in the documentary. I thought that was kind of cute. They had like, cause Fiona was like, they have different names for all of them based on their looks and stuff. So, um, I don't know. Which one would you say this guy is? Like Chucky Prime?
Yeah, well, he would be Bride. So yeah, so he'd be Chucky Prime.
You Chucky Prime. You're cute. I like you. I just don't like your ears, man. Seen his ears? Can you see his ears? It's
He's got
kind of,
little ears.
you got a little, I mean, I don't know. Is this how his ears normally look?
No, I think they're like regular ears, like whatever size his head would be.
Uh, his head is big in this one. He's got a bigger head than I do.
It's
But
ego.
he's got a bigger head than I do.
Oh, you do, yeah.
Yeah, his head's bigger than mine. Damn, damn, Chucky. You smaller than me with a bigger head. Hmm. Well, I
Ego.
guess we
It's
need we
all
need
ego.
that. Yeah, it's all ego. I mean, that's how he is. He only thinks about himself. I do like that Brad Dorff gave Fiona Dorff advice on how to be Chucky for the when she gets to play him and stuff. She got to go to the source and ask him how to do it and everything. I forgot the first bit, but I remember him saying that that you gotta love what you're doing. You gotta love killing people, and
And then
stuff.
it cuts to a shot of Chucky saying that. I love what I do.
Yeah, I love what I do. He does. He loves to kill people.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Um,
Well, and I guess until Brad leaves us, he's going to do Chucky because he said he can't turn Dawn down. So no
I
matter
hate to say it,
what,
like this is where I think the Darth Vader thing should happen. That that Brad just keeps saying all these different words or whatever, puts it into a bank, and then nobody can replace him. Just AI it the whole time and have him be But see, the thing is, when Dawn passes one day, which I hope is not for another 30 or 40 years, you know, he is gonna he's gonna take the Chucky franchise with him because I mean, without Dawn, there really is no Child's Play.
Right.
Like there's no Chucky without Dawn. Like I would not want to watch it, you know.
I mean, unless they passed it on to somebody who's already there, just like they did with part two, and then Don Mancini got it. So maybe somebody like a Tony Gardner would take over, or somebody that's been there for a long time that we would trust with the franchise.
I really don't like that they did Kevin Yeager dirty too. They did him and his wife dirty, which I think was pretty wrong.
Well, I mean,
Um,
Yeager, it sounds like he wanted more money, or they wanted to pay him less, and he wanted more, or he wanted more, and they weren't willing to
no,
pay
because
it.
he wanted a team. He wanted his team, the team, same team he's had since the beginning of time to go and do it. And then they're
Oh,
like,
that's
"Oh,
right.
you're going up
Yeah,
to Romania. Sorry, we can't do that for you." And so he had to say goodbye, and Tony took over. So Tony
that's right.
became the Kevin Yeager, of the rest of the series.
Well, and you have to. I think that they realized later that this is one of those cases where everybody who worked on the previous movie has to come back for the next movie because they know it. You don't have to train somebody to then move an eye. The guy's already done it or girl's done it already
I
on like two
know.
movies. So they can literally just go in, set up, and
Mm-hmm.
then just start rehearsing. They don't need training. So yeah, so them saying, "Oh yeah, no, it's only you going." Then for Kevin Yeager, it's just like, "No, I need like my five people or whatever it was." So that doesn't make any sense. But
I think
you
it's
know,
money. It cost them more money, and Universal was getting stingy at that time about the price, And I think if they had done that, I think they would have, it. I think that was Seed of Chucky, and I think that was the movie that bombed, and everything. And it might not have bombed had they just give in for $1 more million, had them, their team up there, made sure all the, dolls look good and everything like that. And, maybe it was Bride of Chucky. I don't remember. But it was one of those two, you
and
know.
I think Tony came in on Seed. I think,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
there you go.
So it was. I tend to think the
It was
reason why,
Seed. It was Seed.
yeah, I think Seed bombed, um, because one, of course, we're all how many Chucky says there were already been, but I think a lot of it had to do with maybe the meta stuff that's in it. I think maybe the gay stuff that's in it is a lot of people didn't like that.
Like it would
And
do better now, I mean, you could definitely get away with a lot of the
I'm
gay stuff now, I think.
I think people would still hate it because it's now it would just look woke. Back then, I don't think this was. That's why I'm glad, and I mentioned this on another video, that everything came out when it did, because we wouldn't have what we have today. We wouldn't have the TV shows.
Hmm.
And so, but I think during that time is Chucky was with Tiffany and there was nudity and all this type of stuff, and he was kind of like a guy. And then there is the baby, but we have no idea what the baby is at the end. But then once we hit Seed, all of a sudden it's Glenn or Glinda, and the doll is gay, or it's bi, or it's they them. I don't think a lot of the straight audience liked that.
And
I think that
we see Tiffany's boobs in
we
Seed of
do.
Chucky, which I don't think anybody really wanted to see, like
So
doll boobs. That's just weird.
made me excited. So, which is why I think Curse of Chucky did well. Is that it was a huge hit? Was
Now I know
you
why you
know
bought that doll of Tiffany, a little one. You didn't take her out of her package and play with her.
she doesn't really have boobs in this though. They made her really flat chested, and Tiffany has boobs. So I don't know. Maybe because it's aimed at kids or something. I don't know because it's in Five Below. But yeah, she should have a bigger,
Bigger rack.
yeah.
Sorry,
Which she
Jennifer.
does in the movie. She does.
Sorry,
So.
Jennifer.
I think that you either you have to make the movie that you want, which Don Mancini did, or you make the movie the audience wants. And apparently Seed was the movie that the audience didn't want, but Don did. So which is why, like I said, they that's
I think you also learned that lesson, and that's why when they did the tonal reboot, it did go away from a lot of the stuff that they threw in the first, before. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're done. We are over with the Chucky series. Can you
that
believe
is
it?
it. Yeah.
That is it. We went through all of them, including the TV series and two documentaries. And it was fun for me because I had
Oh,
never watched all of them. So I had missed Seed and I haven't seen the TV series. And I had not seen the documentaries. So there was, ones I hadn't seen yet. So I was excited. But we're also doing another one I haven't watched many of the movies on, and that is going to be next. And that is The Purge. And I don't know
yes.
if you got my message about The Purge question about it, right?
I don't
It
know.
probably was in one of my messages I sent you, and you did not check because you thought I was telling you of my opinions on this, and really I was just asking you about The Purge. Do you want to do it as far as like release wise, or do you want to review them like because like there's one called The First Purge, and I think that's the prequel to it all. So do you want to start with that, or do you want to start with The Purge number one? Good question, do you, huh?
Because yeah, the first purge, well, because then you'd have to go first purge, then purge season two,
Yeah, I don't want to do
then
that. No, I don't want to do that because I don't want to go into
because that is a prequel, but I think it's because it takes place right before the purge.
right. I'd rather do it. Let's do it release order, and then we can talk about that because maybe we'll see. We've done that before where we did it in release order and we saw little problems that they had when they brought in the
Yeah.
prequels, and I think that's more fun. Then you could be like, why do they do that if they already brought this up in the first one?
Well, there's a cameo in season two that I think would ruin it if we did it in that type of order.
Yeah,
Like if we did first purge and then season two. So yeah, I think watching them
release
in
order.
release order would be the best way to go. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be back next season. I'm not sure how long we're going to take. I almost want to go right back into it in January, but I don't know
I would
what.
say let's start February.
Okay, February. Give a month. We'll give you guys a
Yeah.
month and then we'll go back into it. Because, it just gives us a little bit of a break. But I mean, horror film lovers will not be on a break. I'll still be recording videos. John may be on some, I don't know. But we haven't filmed anything for January yet. But I have been taking a little bit of a break on horror film lovers because it's that time of year and it's Christmas time and hard to get things done. And, I still got to do some Christmas shopping tomorrow. So, it's going to be a fun week. But, it's literally a week till Christmas. Can you believe it?
I know. And I'm looking forward to it because I already have my two cats a gift. It's just waiting there
Oh.
to be unwrapped. They get a Christmas gift every year. And I
So
try
do
to
they
think
get
of
to unwrap it?
no, unfortunately. It's a dog cat bed. It's like a circle and it
Right.
has a blanket that's sewn into it so they could sit on top of it or go under the blanket. And it's wrapped in plastic. So it's one of those things where you cut the plastic and we'll go like and it will open up like that and I can put it right onto the floor. And then on Christmas Day they can sniff it and walk around it and sit in it and play in it and do all that. So
Oh, that'll be
every
nice.
year they get something different.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate it. They don't realize what Christmas is, nor do they care. Like, they're happy to have you. And if you give them a gift, they will gladly take it, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's more for me because they're happy with a box or
Right.
a paper bag. For them that's exciting.
Well, yeah,
Ooh,
Obi does that all the time. You leave I left was it a comic book box, right, to put my comic books in. And of course, Obi went and right into it and just sat in it. I was so glad he didn't shit in it because it looks like it could be a, box for going to the bathroom and or whatnot. But he didn't, thank God.
yeah, that's
Um,
good.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so this comes out after Christmas, so right before the new year. So we're excited. There's going to be a new year coming up. Like I've said before, it's horror film lovers is still going to be going strong. There was going to be like a sort of a rebranding, but I'm kind of already doing that with everything. Like it's sort of like less and less videos, and that's sort of the rebranding is it's not going to be so many, so much stuff content for me to do because I'm just one man and I don't really have a lot to be
I'm
able to
just
do.
one man
I'm just
talking to a girl who is in love.
with Chucky.
Not with Chucky, the Notting Hill version of Chucky,
Uh,
of
I would
Hooky.
watch that. I would watch Notting Hill with Chucky.
What
Yeah.
it, you know how they do these videos where this guy replaces, like, he puts that barn owl in movies, like he
I've
replaces.
never seen that, but that sounds funny.
Yeah, then, or you could do like he took the shark out of Jaws and put the cat in. Oh no, no, yeah, that's a cat. It's another guy who does a cat. So what if we did movies and we replaced the lead actor with Chucky? And so Chucky says everything. Or in some cases, maybe you could replace Julia Roberts with Tiffany. You could replace Jennifer Tilly in all her movies with Tiffany.
That's funny. I was thinking Jerry Maguire with Chucky, It's like, show me the money. You
Show me the
know,
money, bitch. Fuck you. Show
mother,
me the money.
show me the money, motherfucker. You know, um, that would be funny. Brad Dorff make a Chucky Jerry Maguire to watch that. Um, that'd be
You just did a
hilarious.
review of that and you didn't invite me.
That was all Joe Turk. So I didn't, but I
Yeah,
did show you that we did it. We reviewed it or
that
whatever.
made me, yeah, that made me
That made you
sad.
sad.
That made me
You
sad, but
cannot
that's
be a
okay.
part of Mr. Jerry Maguire
I have
here.
that same version. I have that,
Yeah,
that same
that's what
case.
Joe and I talked about. We talked about we had that same version. But this is like the DVD. I don't know. Is there a Blu-ray of this or 4K? Probably a Blu-ray,
I
right?
think there's a Blu-ray, but I don't think it's that. I don't think
And
it's
it doesn't
probably,
have all that cool shit on it.
yeah.
That sucks. You know
I mean,
that's
if you or anybody else ends up doing like Vanilla Sky, since I think that's Cruise's best movie, then I definitely have to be on that one. So
okay.
I love Vanilla Sky.
We'll do that eventually for Film Freaks because I love that movie too. I'm a huge Cameron Crowe fan, and he was on uh he was on I want to say Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, no, it was Jimmy Kimmel, son Jimmy Kimmel. I knew it was one of the Jimmys, but he talked about his new show, his new book that he has. He has the whole book on his experiences, including the movie we talked about earlier today, Fast Times at Ridgemont High and stuff. So I really want to buy that, but it's like $35 anywhere, and I'm like, I'll wait till it goes down in price.
He is so hit and miss. I haven't seen Aloha because I heard it was awful, but he did that film with what's his face from Lord of the Rings, Legolas, who's also in Pirates. It's
Oh,
something Town.
Oliver, whatever.
No, not Oliver. It's
No,
something
something Bloom.
Elizabethtown is the movie that
But
he
the
did.
movie was
Elizabethtown.
Bloom, Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom. And he's in this Elizabethtown, which is god awful. God,
I've
is it
heard mixed
horrible.
reviews. I never watched it.
Oh,
Um,
it's the problem with it. Well, among many things, is it has that, and I'm going to use the wrong words, but it's kind of the same thing. The magic pixie fairy girl that's in it that has the loser guy, and then she turns his whole life around. Like Garden State has that, and there's all these
oh
movies with
God, I think
these.
my movie Accidentally Hers is kind of like that I wrote. It's like the character is sort of this geeky writer guy, and the crazy girl comes into his life and just kind of changes him.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. I like Garden State. Garden State's a fun movie to me. I don't know. I can't.
Oh no, I like
It's a
Garden
good
State. I'm a big
romantic
fan.
comedy,
The crazy.
but um, I liked We Bought a Zoo. That was a good Cameron Crowe movie.
Never saw that.
It's Matt Damon, or as Trey Parker likes to call him Matt Damon.
I don't know. No, it's not coming up because I'm not saying it. Yeah, I'm not saying it right. So it's not coming up with the actual thing. But yeah, it's this trope. It's this girl that's in there that yeah, takes the guy who's all pent up and and turns him around. And yeah, she's like the crazy girl while he's like the real stiff guy.
Yeah, that's I wrote that for Actually Hers, just because it's fun. It's a fun trope. And they haven't had really one of those in a while, so I figured I'll write that, and that's what I'm hoping to direct next year.
So maybe you should have the magical pixie girl, and then you could then also have the black guy who the magical Negro movie, and then you could have him, and you could have both of them with the lame white guy, and both of them kind of battle each other to kind of make this guy into something else, because those seem
No,
to be the two tropes for white people.
maybe one day, maybe that'll be the sequel. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I like that. I'm a really big fan of Garden State. Really, I might like Elizabethtown. I don't know. I like rom-coms, so
Oh
those are
God,
some of my favorite. I know you hate them, but I absolutely
Oh
love
no,
them.
some rom-coms are good. I just hated Elizabethtown. Ugh.
Yeah.
What
Um.
a misstep that was.
Well, and I love Cameron. You know, growing up with stuff like Say Anything and then Jerry Maguire and Almost Famous being one of my favorite movies of all time. I think he sort of maybe peaked at there. You love Vanilla Sky, which is his movie right after Almost Famous, but I think to me, I think all of a sudden out of it, it was like everything was okay, nothing spectacular or mind bending, and I think that was sort of my problem. I think that a lot of people, it happens when people get older, their movies just don't, they just, even, I mean, the only people I can think of that it might be different is like Tarantino, you know, like I still like everything Tarantino does, like even when he gets older, so I haven't
So
like,
far, so good.
so far, so good. Yeah. Even Hateful Eight, which is not one of my favorites. It would be ranked down low. It's just because it's just too talky. It's like if they made that into a play, I wouldn't be surprised. Like that's pretty much, and then that's the problem too, is he has, this is so off target, but uh, there's the scope of the movie. He made it in like wide scope, cinema scope, or something like that, and he brought that back. That was like an old thing they used to do in the westerns. And he brought it back, and it's supposed to be for landscapes and everything. Shoots like two shots for that. The rest of everything's like inside places and stuff. And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, it doesn't look as like good. Like, I don't know. I love that dude, but I just don't like that movie that much. That and I did not like Death Proof. Those are my two least. I know a lot of people love that movie. I get bored, by it. I'm like, oh, will something happen, please? It's my thing, and I'm like, this is Tarantino, you know. Um,
No, you can't like everything. I mean, not everything's gonna be gold.
Inglourious Bastards is gold,
See,
Django Unchained.
that is not gold to me.
Yep. See, there you
Because
go.
because
Uh,
you remove the glorious bastards and the same results would happen. They're actually kind of pointless in the movie. So, but it's a
who are
it.
you, Sheldon Cooper? Saying the same thing about Indiana Jones. You remove Indiana Jones, everything exactly would happen the exact same way in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they're like,
It's true.
it is true. You remove him, they would still find the Ark of the Covenant, and they still would have their
And
face
and
melted off.
and if the bastards never went to the movie theater, the doors still would have been chained up and everybody would have burnt to death. So,
Maybe he was learning from Indiana Jones, taking Indiana Jones tips. I don't know.
maybe. So,
But anyway,
but
that's neither here nor there nor Chucky. But we are done with Chucky, so it didn't matter. Um, we We did love Chucky. I really hope Chucky comes back some shape or form, maybe in 2027 or I was saying 2028 to somebody, and they were like, "That's too far away." I don't know if it was you, but I don't think it was.
Mm-mm.
Somebody was like, "That's too far away," and I go, "But it would be perfect for the 40th anniversary, no, 50th anniversary,
Oh,
40.
maybe that was me. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it'd
it
be
is when you consider that we're just about in, 2026, and some of these movies have been a few years apart. So
well, it
I
generally takes about a year from production to completion and out, release that a movie like Marvel will do a movie in like a year because they have all the special effects and stuff. I guess it's not as needed for a movie like that, but like generally speaking, it should probably be a year. You gotta do effects, you gotta do music. I got to see what Joe Loduca looked like in that documentary. I have never seen his face. And I was like, oh my God, that's the dude who did the music for Evil Dead and everything. And I absolutely adore him. He did a lot of music for Josh Becker, who sadly passed away this year.
yeah.
So rest in peace, Josh Becker. I will absolutely miss you. Um, he actually came on my radio show, you know,
Huh?
so love that dude. Um, but anyway, this has been a great season. I love talking Chucky, and I'm excited for The Purge.
Yeah.
We may get two seasons out this year because if we can get this stuff done by mid 2026, maybe we'll do another season, do another, we'll do something else like Texas Chainsaw or something like that, like another uh mainstream Monday thing,
Sure.
franchise. If we can. Um, if we can't, we'll just do this one, you know, coming up. So be ready for us because we're gonna have a fun time this year. But until then, everybody, hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a safe new year, and we'll see you in February. Till then,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.